What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast, Happy Hour Hoops, presented by Train Wreck Sports. And we are back after a long break, a long summer of no NBA hoops. NBA season starts next Tuesday, and we have the Happy Hour Hoops season preview today. Fellas, it's good to see your guys' faces. It's good to be back talking hoops. Lovely time of year. We have football, but we also have our favorite sport coming back into swing. How we doing, guys?
Oh, we're doing. More importantly, Dunny, how are you doing? Coming off the championship, you had a
I
nice little
know.
little celebration. The Celtics finally got it done for you. We didn't. Our friendship was okay after that NBA Finals. We didn't talk too much, but we needed a couple months off. But I'm doing ready. I'm excited for this season. Couple big moves, couple big splashes the Mavs made in the offseason. So we're looking forward to that. But unfortunately, a couple big splashes that the other top dogs in the West made with the Thunder, the T-Wolves too. So I think it's going to be a really fun, competitive season, especially in the Western Conference at the top.
Whew. Yeah, it's gonna be a blast to see who kind of, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot up for grabs this year. Like there's a lot of parity, and there's a lot of ways that this could go. Where we're talking about someone. There's a lot of different options for main character of the season, player wise, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be so much fun this season. I feel like last season was just kind of the setting the foundation for like this era of the NBA. If we're talking about obviously the Celtics getting their first title, and we expect them to be contending for years. The Thunder showing those signs, though. The Wolves showing those signs. The Knicks having the bounce back. Like it was all year one of all these teams really like balling out like this. So now we're getting like them more as established teams. They're going to see each other in the playoffs more. Some regular season games, I'm sure, are going to get heated, especially Boston, New York, Boston, Philly, New York, Philly, that division.
New York, Minnesota.
Yeah, New York, Minnesota is going to be crazy. So it's going to be competitive, and I'm interested to see how we feel about these teams. I don't know about you guys. I went through and just last night sat down after all. We're all summer. We're just picking through stuff like season previews, probably some podcasts, probably some clips on like TikTok or Twitter and Instagram. Something like we're doing all our prep. We're reading articles. We're getting ready, and I feel like we all have a decent idea of how we like feel about teams. But I went through and just like ranked. I was like, okay, if I had to project the standings right now and all these different things, like how would it bore out? And it's going to be an interesting league if it turns out some way the way that I had it. I don't know if you guys go through that or do anything, but I'm just excited to see how this shakes out. And we're gonna go through today. We're gonna do our win totals draft. We're gonna try to keep track of this year pretty.
Dunny's got to redeem
steadily.
himself.
Dunny's
got to
was
redeem
under
himself
500
after last year.
Tough year. Steve
Tough.
ran away with a win. I was above 500, right in the middle. So Dunny will pick first. I'll pick second. Steve will pick third. But for that, then we'll give our finals predictions, MVP, surprise teams, and then we're gonna finish with the wheel, which I have to get the wheel ready. I'll do that at some point in here. Someone remind me if it's not. But yeah, we're ready to get into it. Dunny, though, as always, we got to start there. The news is coming out in the last couple weeks. In the preseason's been rolling on, and we got some stuff heading into the season. Even today, I was glad we came through today, right on a Thursday afternoon for us.
I know if we kept it like last year, we would have got screwed with the news alerts again. But as Jake said, we have news and notes. I mean, we probably could have a full document of news that happened over the summer, but we hope the fans who are listening here are just as big or close to as big NBA fans as we are. So a lot of this stuff you already know, but more recent stuff. Lonzo Ball is back. He played his first preseason action. More of that just being good for the Chicago Bulls. I think it's just a nice sight for NBA fans, Bulls fans, whatever, Lonzo fans alike, anyone. It's just a good sign. This is a player who a year and a half ago, we were talking about maybe not playing basketball again. There was a whole beef with Stephen A. Smith, how we had to show him how he can get out of a chair. So just cool to see Lonzo back. Limited minutes, looked pretty good. So, yeah, that's exciting for Bulls fans. Kawhi Leonard, this was the big one from today, guys. Out indefinitely. I mean, a super shocker. No, but definitely, a Clippers team who took a big loss with Paul George. They re-signed Harden instead. Kawhi is obviously, the biggest star on this team, but again, the injuries get him, swelling in the knee, and just no real timetable at the moment. I know we're gonna fly through these notes here in the news and notes, but any quick thoughts on Kawhi here, guys? Just obviously brutal and just a huge negative to the Clippers going into the season. Probably already not looking great.
Yeah, I mean, not the biggest surprise, right? Kawhi missing an extended period of time out indefinitely before a season starts. It sucks. But like kind of the big thing here is they don't have Paul George anymore. This is like going to be a very interesting look to this Clippers team. And they got the system, and James Harden claims that he's the system. Well, let's see what that system is, because it's James Harden and a lot of guys
I forgot about the system.
Who's going to step up to be the main scorer? That's my biggest thing, because Harden has really, the past couple of years, has taken more of that playmaker type role. He's not the true scorer he was. I think he only averaged around like 16, 17 points a game last year. And obviously, partly doing that, playing on a team with Paul George and Kawhi, but you lose Paul George, you lose Russell Westbrook, Kawhi's out. It's like, who is going to step out? You expect Powell to score 30 points a night? You expect Terrence Mann to score 20 points a night? Because I really don't know what's going to happen.
It's a new
with
arena.
Yeah,
This is the worst part. And we talked about this going into this year. They're like the last couple of years, like this is an old team going into this new arena. What are they going to be when bringing in James Harden? Like, what is this team even going to look like in a couple of years realistically? And this is just another one. Maybe Kawhi just knows they're going to be there. He thinks they're just like, this team's not a playoff team, maybe a play-in team. Like, why would I bother?
right.
And it's just like sitting down, and it'll be the James Harden show, which maybe it'll be fun. Does James Harden have a fun season in him? He could.
It could be his best.
What's a fun season?
I guess depends if you think James Harden's fun in the first place.
Yeah, this could be a chance that Harden shows us how he is the system once again. Yeah, just brighter days for the Clippers hopefully ahead, but this is not the way Ballmer, I think anyone within the Clippers organization want to start out. Something else that came out recently, Isaiah Hartenstein, which this could affect our win total draft. This could affect a lot of win total stuff for the Thunder in general. If people are making bets on the Thunder, much like the huge season that they had last year when Steve was all over their win total and, kind of got there early before the Thunder hype. They go out and sign Isaiah Hartenstein this summer. One of the better signings of the offseason probably, and now Hartenstein will be out 5 to 6 weeks with a hand injury. No crazy structural damage is what I was reading, but just needs to get reevaluated once they take this 5 to 6 weeks off. So yeah, just kind of probably not as big as the blow to the Clippers, but this is a team who realized they needed some size, went out and got one of the better big men on the market, and now they will not be starting the season with him.
No, they're going to have to kind of play small ball, right? And we saw Chet kind of take a big step up in the second half of last year. And they also add Caruso in, who's a great defender. They got a lot of guys. This is still, even without Hartenstein, this is going to be a tough physical team. And they're also a team that can play really fast too. They're still one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Hartenstein, I think, is going to really help this team, but I also think too that this is kind of an injury that the Thunder can afford at the start of the year, right? Because I think they're just going to play small ball. They're just going to play quick and fresh. It's a young team, a lot of good players, a lot of like tough guards. I'm really excited to see Dort and Caruso on the court at the same time, because that's going to be a wild backcourt to try to score on. But it's a tough loss, but if there's a team that I think that could take this on right now, I think it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. I really, and I love Jalen Williams. I love Chet Holmgren. Even SGA, if SGA is like out for a little bit of the time, I think the way that they built this Thunder team in the offseason, they built it in a way where they can kind of overcome these injuries and change their playing style a little bit. And Hartenstein, yes, he gives them that traditional center that they need, and I think he's going to be a perfect fit for this team when he's good to go. But we saw them play very small. We saw them with the other Jalen Williams would play almost as a 5, as a small 5. Chet could play as a 5, even though sometimes I think you could play him as a 4 and Hartenstein is the 5. So I'm not too worried. I think Chet Holmgren's in for a really, really big year. I think this Thunder team's in for a big year. Obviously, it's a tough loss, but when you're going to have a big man out, you'd rather at the start of the season than later on.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on Hartenstein and the Thunder. Last thing here, we all saw it. Nasty video of Paul George hyperextending his knee in some of his first action with the Sixers in the preseason. Good news is, no structural damage when at the first looks. He'll be reevaluated next week. So we assume probably sometime around opening night. Whether Paul George will be available for the Sixers' first game, I think that's still up in the air. But obviously some good news and I'm sure a huge sigh of relief with Philly fans.
Yes.
All right.
I'm just that's the danger of the Paul George thing in general, I think. Yeah. We haven't even gotten to the season yet.
Yeah.
Around the same time.
Joel's not playing back-to-backs ever.
Yep. And
he said, see you later. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, so not super encouraging for the city of brotherly love. And then also, Jared McCain last night too. I don't know if you guys saw the scary fall that he had. I believe he got his whole torso checked out there too. There's worry about lung damage. I believe all that checked out good as well.
But, I think he's day-to-day, right?
Yeah.
McCain's,
definitely not the start Sixers were looking for, or Sixers fans were looking for this season, but as surface level, everything looks okay, and we'll see how things go for the Sixers.
I mean, if we're going to be honest with the Sixers, they are probably in a better spot than they were at the start last year, even with these injuries, right? Probably bringing in a better team. I mean, we'll see with Embiid, but I think he's going to be limited, but he's going to play. So you at least have that to start the year.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Alrighty, we ready to do this win total draft, fellas?
Then he just wants to take the Celtics.
I think we're
That's
ready.
why he's just eager to move on to take the Celtics at 1. Talk about how they won the champion. Say they're a 65-win team. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, we're ready. Yeah, we'll pick the Celtics.
All right, hold on though. We gotta let the people know what we're doing here. So it's obviously pretty simple. Dunny's going to draft first.
Dunny needs redemption. I wish we had the records from last year posted.
I'm going to move Dunny so this will look right for us. We'll remember this whole way. Dunny has the first pick. I have the second. Steve, we'll do a snake draft. We're picking teams. We each will end up with 10 teams. Whoever has the most wins at the end of the season, just cumulative wins. I don't know. We can put we'll put something on the line. We've never done it. Didn't do it last year. But something will be on the line. Bragging rights, whatever. I'm gonna try to keep track of us all year. So we'll give us our rooting interest for every night if it's close race. Steve really jumped out to a lead right away last year and just took over on us. But we're hoping for a better result this year. That's where we're at. I got
some sleeper teams this year too, boys. Watch out.
You got sleeper teams?
Got some sleeper teams already this year.
So that's pretty much it. So we're just gonna start with 10. We're gonna go 10 teams deep. Dunny's starting. Dunny, you're on the clock here, man.
I will take the Boston Celtics.
What?
Wow! No, it's like the Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams this draft. Everyone knew they were taking as soon as the order was out.
58.5 or 58.5 for the win total of the Boston Celtics. I would be taking the over on that. And I just think after the 64 win regular season, pretty much returned everyone. Obviously, Kristaps won't be coming in until December, January range, but off a championship, Jay is probably still improving, just kind of heading into their prime. I like the C's here for the best win total.
Where do you think they have more than 64 this year? Where do you think they compare to last year's team in the regular season?
I don't think they have more than 64 this year just because of the Kristaps factor. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the beginning of the season will probably be trying to figure out whether it's an Al Horford thing,
Right.
Xavier Tillman, Keita, Cornette. I think probably just rotating those bigs and figuring out the true starting lineup will probably shave off some wins there. I think they'll be right around 60, though. I think 60, 61 is probably where I'd put them at.
All
I think
right.
that's fair too. I think that's fair. 60. You should expect that in there. You're like you said, 58.5. I feel like this is a 60-win team. The East is not very good. I told you when I was ranking those teams last night, I got to like 8 teams deep, and I'm like, who am I putting down for like playing? Like, it was kind of scary, kind of dire. So they're gonna beat up. There's one thing we know about the Celtics: they're gonna beat up on all of that. They're never gonna like slip up against these bad teams. They're gonna win by 60 points one night because Derek White has 35 or something. So good pick, Dunny. I like that.
Thank
so I'm up here second. And I am a little nervous from today's news, but I'm not going to deter from my pick here. I'm going with the Oklahoma City Thunder here with the second pick. I think they are my 1 seed in the Western Conference. I think they could win 55 to 60 games this year because, like you guys were mentioning, with the Hartenstein injury, yeah, it's concerning that Hartenstein's injured. You obviously want to get him in, but 5-6 weeks isn't too much. Like hopefully it's not too bad. But what their strength is going to be is they're so deep. They're so deep that they can adapt to any style and play any which type of way. So yeah, having Hartenstein is gone is tough, but they can still play effectively a number of different ways with the roster they've set up. Caruso coming off the bench, he could slide into a starting role. They could play small and still be really effective. They're scary, and I'm really excited to watch them this year. So yeah, I'll gladly take that. I think besides Boston, they're the best chance at 60 wins this season.
Okay. So you guys took my number 2 and my number 3 teams for regular season win totals right now. My number 1, and I think this is the deepest team in the NBA. I think this is a team that even with a couple injuries can still win games because I think sometimes that's important in the regular season. I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are built for a 60-65 win regular season. Just the way they kind of built this team, the amount of depth they have. This is a type of team where if Anthony Edwards sits out a game, or let's just say he's day-to-day, you know how those lingering injuries happen in the NBA, they have guys to step up. Rob Dillingham, who they drafted out of Kentucky. Well, they technically didn't draft, but who they got out of Kentucky is fantastic. You also get Terrence Shannon from Illinois, the rookie, who's great. I love that they got Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. I love that side of the deal in the trade they made with the Knicks. Like, this is a team.
Crazy,
and, we judge Randle and Rudy Gobert for the playoffs. And, yeah, that might hurt them in the playoffs, but this is a regular season win total
what we're doing.
And Rudy Gobert's really good in the regular season. We kind of learned that. Julius Randle, I think, is going to fit in well on this team because he's not going to be really relied on too much offensively. He can kind of do what he needs to do, but he's not like the guy anymore. Sometimes I felt like it was a struggle where he felt like, was he 1A or was he 1B with Jalen Brunson on the Knicks? And he's clearly not the first option here. It's Anthony Edwards. I think we're in for a type of MVP season with the Ant-Man as well. And I just love the depth of this team. I love the depth of their guards. You have McDaniels. You still have Conley. You added DiVincenzo. Like I said, I love the draft picks of Shannon and Dillingham. Didn't even talk about everyone's fan favorite, Naz Reid. This is just a team that I think just top to bottom is one of the deepest, one of the most balanced, one of the best defensive teams. I love the Timberwolves win total here. I really would not be shocked, and I don't know if it is offered, but I would look into betting the Timberwolves to have the most wins in the NBA regular season this year.
I think that's completely fair. I love that team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those teams that I think just did everything right in the offseason. And you're talking about a team that did everything right with an emerging young superstar.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you want. And then I have to take this team because I don't think they'll get back to me. I do have them ranked 4th. But I'm taking the Dallas Mavericks. First off, I don't understand how their win total is 48.5. I don't understand how the line is 48.
You feel disrespected? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, I feel disrespected, and I feel like everyone's just kind of assuming that this is just the Klay Thompson. That's the big the big addition, right? Klay Thompson. But what we forget, this is a full year with PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. This is a full year of the Dunny. You're muted real quick. Dunny's muted. He's probably gonna make a sentence comment.
No, I was adding to your point. Actually, they won 50 games last year.
Right, they won 50 games last year.
Yeah,
they were the second best team post the trade deadline. Like this is a team, and not just record wise, offensive rating, defensive rating, both in the top 5 in the second half of last year. And this is a team too that's only going to kind of get better. Kyrie Irving's actually healthy coming into a season for once. I know Luka right now is dealing with something. He might be out for the first week of the regular season. We'll see, but it's not anything like too serious. You add Klay Thompson, which what did they need? We said the whole time we need someone who's going to be able to shoot a 3. That's exactly what they need. But the biggest reason why I love the Mavs win total this year, I think this is the year we see a huge leap from Derek Lively. We kind of saw it as his rookie season was going on at the end of last year. It really carried over into the playoffs. He's developing an outside shot. He has ridiculous athleticism. We saw him dribbling the ball a little bit in the preseason. I was like, Derek Lively's taking the ball up the court. But just to have a guy like that, a versatile big, and this is the first time coming into a Mavs season, and I feel like 10 years, where I look at our front court depth and I love it. That's crazy. That's crazy. And you're telling me I have front court depth with, in my opinion, the best player in the NBA running the team with Luka. I don't see how this team is under 48.5 wins. It's disrespectful. I'll be completely honest here. You guys know I was honest last year. I do think the Timberwolves and the Thunder are probably going to be 1-2. I really do. I think regular season, I think they're going to be 1-2. And I also think this is a Mavs team too, unlike Timberwolves and Thunder, where they might just give Kyrie and Luka. You know how every now in the season, Luka will get a couple weeks off and it's Kyrie's show, vice versa. I think the Mavs are going to be able to do that, especially what we saw from Jaden Harvey getting Quentin Grimes as well. So I think they'll be the 3rd best team regular season in the West, but 48.5, disrespectful.
Yeah, I like that.
For my pick, I also agree a 48.5 is disrespectful. I'm taking the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
They're definitely going to be over 48.5. This is a team that could win 55 games this year if everything goes right. You guys know my biggest complaint the last couple years. It was the head coach. Couldn't stand the head coach.
Yep.
Kenny Atkinson is a guy who, when he was in Brooklyn, got the most out of it. It was like D'Angelo Russell and Karis LeVert. Like out there cooking for the Mets in a playoff game. They're playing Giannis in the first round of the playoffs. They were a 6 seed, man. He got this group that did not have a lot of talent to play really well, and then ended up getting, he's just a part of the chaotic environment that the late 2010s, early 2020s Brooklyn Nets was, and he gets ousted out of there. Now he's been with Steve Kerr and Steph Curry for years, and now he gets another shot as a head coach with this Cavs team, who we all love the talent on this team, but just thought the fit was kind of weird. Maybe the coach was the problem, and he didn't know how to use the guys. Like if Atkinson can figure out with better talent how to optimize 2 things, I think can get this for him to do it. If he figures out how to optimize Evan Mobley, that's obvious. That's the key to if Mobley becomes like an all NBA level guy, this team's ceiling is through the roof after. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen. But that's what we need from Evan Mobley. That's what you're hoping for. But he also needs to figure out how to play Garland and Mitchell together effectively. Do you see what Garland said today, gentlemen?
No.
In the press, Darius Garland earlier today. Hold up, let me get it. I just want to stay healthy so I can get out there and shut so many people up that turned on me. Darius Garland's on a revenge tour. Darius Garland's tired of the disrespect. And I think that this team is not the best team in the East, but I think they can compete with the Knicks for the 2nd best team in the East. And I'll take a bet that they can win that, playing in a weaker division, because Milwaukee is their biggest competition there. I don't know how you guys are on Milwaukee. I still think they're going to be pretty good, but I don't think they're among the elite of the league at this moment. And, there's Indiana, who's a tough team, but I think I'd rather avoid that than the Boston Celtics or, playing them at any point extra in the season. So going with Cleveland.
Alrighty. That's 2 picks for me, right?
Shout out Joey.
Oh yeah, Donnie,
He's
you
in the
got
house,
back to
baby.
back.
Yeah, you're
Interesting
back to
spot
back.
here, Donnie.
Yeah, I will say I don't dislike that.
Pause
that
after
pick,
your
but
first pick because I'll show the people the current draft. We'll do it after every 2 rounds. Oh, here we
got it.
go.
All right.
Joey's speaking Dunny's
Oh boy,
language
here
here.
we go.
Here we
we
go.
go.
Jeez,
Oh,
he knows.
boy.
Dunny,
He
did you
knows.
get the 2024 on the banner behind you yet?
Not yet.
Is that all right? We're waiting for it.
Still just 2008 there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put some tape in.
There you got
and
it.
write
getting
that
a
in.
new
some
banner?
duct tape or something.
Yeah, or just
a new banner.
Ooh,
Just that might
we
be the
might
move,
splurge, get a new banner.
That might be the move, honestly.
Donnie hits a nice same game parlay opening
Yeah.
night Tuesday, and next thing you know, he's got a new banner.
If the player props start hot to start the season, we'll be seeing a new banner quickly.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
You guys put me in a spot here where I didn't think this team would get back to me, and I didn't think I would be taking them second, but
Oh boy.
I'm gonna take the New York Knicks here.
Yeah.
I just think they're probably have the best shot at the most wins out of available teams. So 50-win team last year. You know, I think you can argue whichever way on the Karl Anthony Towns trade, and I don't know if I'm completely set one way or the other, if they got better or not, but I do think they have more opportunity to win games here with the group they have. Just another year with Brunson. Obviously, they bring in Mikal Bridges to kind of beef up that wing defense. And then, you know, you bring in a guy like Karl Anthony Towns who can help them in a lot of different spots, especially with just some size while Mitchell Robinson is returning from injury. So I like the New York Knicks here for my second pick.
I like that pick a lot.
All right, there's our first 2 rounds. I will say, guys, you guys probably know this. If you play a 2K franchise, I'm definitely leading here because I feel like I've seen the Thunder and Cavs in the 2023 finals last year like a million times.
I mean, the Thunder's a safe bet to get 5 titles in a row in 2K.
Bro, there was one time I said through the Cavs had like 71 wins last season. I'm like, this game, what is up with this? They just love Evan Mobley and Sheldon.
Yeah, they'll have Luka averaging 45, 10, and 15, and they'll still have the Thunder with 70 wins.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a pretty expected group, I think, for the top 6. I feel like that's the top 3 teams in the East. We're probably maybe missing one team that somebody else have in the West that we'll get to here, but I think this is pretty much this has to be the clear-cut top 6. So with that said, let's get on. Let's keep going. Donnie, you're back on the clock here.
Yep, time to kick off round 2 here, and I was actually between 2 teams, but I just told myself to not overthink this. This is a team that won, I believe, 57 games last year. Give me the Denver Nuggets here, just to start off the 3rd round.
No surprise. That was the other team I was referring to there.
Yeah, the Nuggets are the Nuggets, right? They didn't make any splashy moves or anything, but you have Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and you got pretty much the same supporting cast as last year. You're a good team. They also, Donnie, added one of our favorite players.
Exactly.
To come off the bench. Westbrook. I'm excited to see what he can do because I actually think he'll get a decent role for this Nuggets team.
I think it will be similar to the role he had with the Clippers, but a little less pressure, right? Because you know who the guys are on the Nuggets, and we thought we did on the Clippers too, but I think there was too much turmoil. There was too much just weird drama shit with the Clippers last year. Like this Nuggets team is solidified. They have championship roster. They went out and got a guy like Russ. Like he didn't land in their lap. They knew what they were doing. They needed help on the bench. I love it. I love Christian Brown. Another year with him. Yeah. You know, just kind of getting used to playing with this group. Obviously,
Peyton Watson was good last year too.
Yes, he was very good. A big surprise. You know, a name that probably a lot of people don't know, but I think this year you'll start to get to know him. And I know KCP is a huge loss for this group, but hopefully guys like Christian Brown and bringing Westbrook can kind of pick up the slack there. So yeah, I like the Nuggets in this spot.
Yeah, I think that was the right pick. I was honestly thinking about the Nuggets at 4, but I was like, I don't think the Mavs are getting back to me. I can't have a win totals draft. Not taking the Mavs. I wouldn't hear the end of it. But I really do think everyone's just kind of overlooking the Nuggets because, like I said, they didn't make moves like these other top teams, right? You have obviously the Celtics are the exception to the rule because their starting five was just unfair last year. They really didn't need to make big splashes. But look at the other top teams, right? The Knicks made some splashes. The Timberwolves made splashes. The Thunder made splashes. The Mavs made splashes. The Nuggets just they got Westbrook. They have Westbrook, lost KCP, and their young guys are going to get a little better.
They paid their dudes, man. They're kind of just stuck at this point with the way the apron is and everything. So, yeah, it's just.
But sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If it ain't broke,
they
don't
should
fix
have.
it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They're going to be as competitive as anybody else.
Maybe get a player from Jokic's country because that was the most fun he ever had playing basketball. He said maybe just get one to hang out on the bench because his comments after the Olympics were unbelievable.
That bus ride looked like the happiest person I've ever seen after they won.
Now he's back at work. He's miserable.
Back to work.
That's a good pick. That's where I was leaning next. Now I feel like we got through the top 7. Those are the clear top 7 teams in the NBA. Now I think the draft starts. There's a lot of different ways that I can go here. The two
this is where I lost
teams
my
that
soul
I have
last
ranked.
year.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yes,
the two teams I have ranked here both kind of have the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
One at least is proven a little bit more, but not really this iteration of it. One team isn't proven at all. Both have a superstar duos that are any team in the league would envy having, but it just hasn't been put together the last couple of years. I'm gonna do it. I'm going with the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
Going with the Phoenix Suns.
I was between them and Denver.
Okay.
I'm going with Phoenix because I think Booker is going. I think this is going to be the best year Devin Booker ever has. I think coming off of Team USA, he was so awesome in the Olympics. The way he kind of was just whatever Team USA needed for that run. Just how much trust he got. I just feel like he's going to be more confident than ever. We really saw them like they were, for everything we complained about them last year, they were still a really good basketball team. And I think just having another year together, another year. I just think Devin Booker is only going to keep getting better. And do we really see Durant dropping off at all? Like he didn't show any signs of that in the Olympics. That's for sure.
No.
And I feel like Budenholzer kind of fits them perfectly for what they want to do and the way they want to kind of play it. Like this team is going to look so much different offensively. It's not going to be so much isolation heavy ball. Like they're going to move, they're going to spread, and they're going to take a lot of threes. I think it fits this team perfectly. Fits what they wanted to do with Booker as a point guard before perfectly. I think this will be a better fit for him to kind of run the offense if he wants to. So yeah, I feel good about Phoenix. I do think that they're the 5th best team in the West. That's where I end up putting them behind Dallas, Denver, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota have all been selected already. But I still think that's a really good team who could make the conference finals and then maybe make the NBA finals if all things go right.
Yeah, no, what you said there about Coach Bud was the biggest thing for me and the reason I was trying to get them in this draft. I just think, and that it's not a knock at Frank Vogel. I think the 3 of us were like kind of excited or intrigued when they got Vogel, but just wrong place, wrong time. Like kind of made out to be the scapegoat last year. Like took the heat for a lot of things that I don't necessarily think were his fault. I think they just had, some kinks they needed to work out. They went out and got some point guard help with Tyus Jones and Monty Morris. I just don't think their defense can be as bad as it was last year. I'm sure everyone in Phoenix is hoping not. And then the fourth quarter offense was like one of the worst in the league. And I don't think we see that again with a team that has Devin Booker.
No way.
No, I agree with that.
All right, Steve, you're here for 2.
Yeah, the Suns actually I wasn't gonna take ahead of this team, and I know I bet both of you are down on this team, and I don't want to say I'm down on this team. I'm just kind of neutral. They feel similar to the Nuggets with me. It's the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm gonna take the Milwaukee Bucks. If you're gonna tell me that I'm getting what pick it's 9 right now, I'm getting a team led by Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm going to say okay. And also, too, you talk about guys that kind of like floor teams last year. That was kind of Milwaukee Bucks 49 wins last year. Dame didn't really play well besides the All-Star game. You know,
Yeah.
Giannis had a great year. Giannis played like Giannis, but, you know, the supporting cast wasn't the best. They added a couple guys, big one being Gary Trent. I think Gary Trent Jr. is going to give them a lot of outside scoring, which is going to kind of try to help the Bucks here. And this is also Milwaukee Bucks team over the past 6 years averages 55 wins a season. I don't know if you guys saw Giannis's comments, but Giannis's comments basically kind of doing the back door, maybe not demanding a trade, but the back door saying open to a trade by saying, hey, if we don't win the championship this year, there's probably a chance I get traded. That puts a lot of pressure on an organization, especially an organization like Milwaukee, where it's an older team and you want to do whatever you can to keep Giannis in town. Now, you know, there's probably some other teams that would love to have Giannis. I could name 29 of them, but I think, you know, Giannis is good enough to carry a team, especially with this supporting cast. And if you look at this supporting cast when healthy, you know, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton might miss a game or two to start the year. That's still a really good team. Yeah, they're getting older, but would I rather take the Milwaukee Bucks over kind of some of these younger teams that might be a little unproven, or teams where, you know, they got some good players, but they don't have that true juggernaut superstar? I mean, regardless what do you think of what the Bucks season was last year, regardless what you think of Doc Rivers, the fact of the matter is, when healthy, Giannis is a top 3 player in the NBA, and you can easily make the argument that he is the best player in the NBA. So give me the Milwaukee Bucks. I'll happily take them at the end of the third round.
Yeah, I don't dislike that at all. And what is savvy? We're going to talk about the Bucks a little bit later in the show too. But what is savvy wording of that statement by Giannis?
Incredible,
right? Because like we never see that. We always see superstars saying, you know, if I come up short, I'm requesting a trade, or if they don't do this for me, I'm requesting a trade, or they just wait until things go sour and silently request a trade. But no, he said, if we don't win a championship this year, the team's probably going to trade me, which is partly true. Like they probably will start to have those conversations in the front office, especially if it's a, you know, a surprisingly bad season for them. So I thought an interesting statement by Giannis, but he worded it very smartly.
He's on it. Yeah. That was the team I was talking about with the 2 superstars and everything. So they was between them and Phoenix.
I'm glad you went Phoenix because I really wanted Milwaukee. I just like I said, I feel like everyone's just kind of overlooking Denver and Milwaukee because like I said, it's the same team, right? It's the same cast, same team, same superstars. But at the end of the day, it's like you do realize the records of the teams Jokic and Giannis have led in the past handful of seasons. I'm going to go the opposite route to start off round 4. I was going with proven talent, guys that I can trust. Let's take a team that I don't want to trust at all, but a team that I think could be near the top of the West. And I'm going to do it, Dunny. I'm going to fall into the bear trap you fell into last year, and I'm taking the Memphis Grizzlies.
Whoa.
I'm taking the Memphis Grizzlies. And this is why I'm going to take the Memphis Grizzlies. This is kind of the first time in 3-4 years that coming into the season, we're expecting Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. all to suit up for the regular season opener. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy to think that that's how far we've come. And remember the hype the Grizzlies had a few years ago before everything happened, that this was kind of the Thunder before the Thunder.
Exactly.
If we're being honest,
the darling team in the West.
This was the Thunder before the Thunder. Now everyone kind of forgot about them. Now they go and they draft Zach Edey. And say what you want about Zach Edey in college basketball. Kool-Aid. He got all the hate. No. Just listen, because I was never a huge Edey guy. He got all the hate. What did he do? All he did was win back-to-back player of the years. He got drafted in the lottery to a very good team. And now all of a sudden, he's favorite for rookie of the year. So all the people who are saying, don't draft Edey, don't do this, he's not going to be good, it won't translate. Now he's favorite for rookie of the year. Well, I'll tell you what, if he's favorite for the rookie of the year, that means all these guys who are hating on Edey have to expect him to play well. And I'll tell you what, he couldn't have landed in a better situation to be kind of just that big center, cone in the middle. You're next to the guy you're playing in the front court is one of the best defensive players with Jaren Jackson Jr. You're surrounded with kind of explosive players around you. You got Marcus Smart still too, which I feel like we just kind of forgot about, that he's still on the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he'll actually make an impact this year. And what kind of helped the Grizzlies in a lost season last year, sometimes you have to look at glass half full. Guys like Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams, incredible. They really showed that they can be value players in the NBA. And these were two guys that last year, they were kind of thrown into a team that was just falling apart, but kind of proved themselves. When everything's kind of clicking, when everything's kind of going, I look at this Grizzlies team and I go, they got depth, they have athleticism, they have shooting, they have defense. And right now in the NBA, what front court is going to be harder scoring consistently inside the paint than Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson? I don't care if Edey doesn't score a point this year. When you got Edey and Jaren Jackson down there, what front court is going to be tougher to score on? I think it's just kind of a perfect team. Now all we have to do is just play basketball. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And I know that it's hurt them in the previous years. But if he plays basketball like he does, they kind of built a great team around him sneakily in the past 2 seasons, where the past 2 years felt like lost causes for the Grizzlies. We've had these young players step up. Aldama stepped up. Gigi Jackson stepped up. Vince Williams stepped up. Desmond Bane stepped up. He's a clear, perfect number 2 scoring option now on any NBA team. And now you got some defense. You got some really good defense kind of around you on this team. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot here. Maybe I'm hopping right in the bear trap that Dunny did last year. But I think everyone's kind of just sleeping on the Grizzlies because, like I said, they're sick of them. They're bored of them. What happens when everyone does that? That's when I jump on the team.
I had them ranked fairly high in the West. Dunny, you have any thoughts on Memphis?
I just did want to say, speaking of Smart and Edey, that clip of Marcus Smart teaching Edey how to do a post move pregame, and then Edey just putting it to work like a few minutes into the game and dunking over someone was just beautiful.
Impressive.
And if they didn't screw me so hard in this exact draft last year, I would have been so excited to go after this team. But no matter, even if they slipped to me to like, I don't know, like the 8th or 9th round, I don't think I could have done it. So I'm glad.
Brought yourself to it.
Right. I'm glad someone else took them. I'm glad they got taken high. And I'm kind of in lockstep with everything Steve just said. He just got me pretty hyped up about the Memphis Grizzlies. I won't lie.
Oh, no. Donnie's hyped up. Can I change my pick? Johnny's hyped up on the Grizzlies. I got to change my pick.
Sorry.
Abort.
I am too.
Jumping off the ship.
I'm very excited about the Memphis Grizzlies as well, but I did have them ranked below the team that I'm going to pick here. In my set here, I'm very excited to get this team. This is a team that I have a high. This is where I'm taking a swing.
I think I know where you're going.
The Houston Rockets.
Oh, whoa!
Houston
did not
Rockets.
Expect that. Okay.
Houston Rockets. I think Ime Udoka is still one of the best coaches in the NBA. They were really fun and really competitive at the beginning of last year, and they only got better. Adding Reed Shepherd to this team, Sengun going to be healthy again. I just am really excited about this team. I think that they're just a candidate for a team that, like, there's got to be one team in the West that you're not expecting to make a run. And I just feel like they've got all the makings of it with the way Ime, another year with him, comfortable in this system. They can beat it up on the bottom of I think the bottom of the West is honestly pretty bad. And I just don't think that this team's going to be in there. And they won 41 games last year, right? I think, what is their over under? 43.5 right now. Could they win like 47? Is there a world where they win 47, 48 games? I think so. I think that's a possibility. And that could be like a 6 seed or a 5 seed in the West. But I'm excited about the Houston Rockets this year. So that's where I'm going.
The only thing I got to ask you, because there's a lot of guys on the Rockets I'm excited to watch. I think they have some really, really good young talent too, and they do kind of feel like a Thunder from a few years ago. The defense is very concerning. Do we think this Rockets team can be a defense, like have any sort of defense?
I think that's where Ime helps out, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think if it's any other coach, or not any other coach, but I think having a coach like that, and then, having just a mentality that he can bring upon the star players, and, maybe someone that you don't necessarily think of as a defender. He can kind of get that out of guys, but I think, personnel wise, I do think it's definitely a question mark. I think that is where Ime is a plus, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. So that's where I'm bullish. I think this team it's at 43.5. I think they can win 45 games and up.
They'll be one of my favorite
I'm taking
League
them as
Pass
a ceiling.
teams.
Oh yeah,
They'll be one of my favorite League Pass teams because even their bench is going to be fun. I don't know exactly how they're going to
Shepard. I'm assuming Shepard's going to
lineup.
be coming off the bench, so I'm excited to see how they use him and how they kind of work him into the lineup.
Because starting lineup will be what? Van Vliet, Green, Sengun, Jabari, and maybe Thompson.
Steven Adams is on this team also.
Yeah, Steven Adams is on this team too.
That's going to help them
That's a nice
depth.
Yeah. You still got Dylan Brooks. They'll probably start Dylan Brooks, right?
Yeah.
They'll probably start Dylan Brooks. So then you got Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore, and Reed Shepard coming off the bench.
That's the thing. Whitmore might think he's the best player on their team.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Tari Eason.
Tari Eason.
That five coming off the bench is crazy.
Yeah, they have an interesting 10-man lineup there. I don't hate the pick. Definitely surprised by both of your guys' picks here. But I like them. I also have a quick anecdote about League Pass. You guys know how you get super mad when you see that something renewed that you paid for and it was like a thing that you're only going to do for a month or a week, and then you don't realize and you see that payment go through. That happened to me 2 weeks ago with League Pass, and I was so excited.
Oh yeah,
I was so excited. That was like the one thing where I got charged and wasn't expecting it. Where I was like, honestly, I can't. I'm
in. Yeah. I only got charged once this year, guys. You remember my whole fiasco last year? I got charged 3 times.
Yeah.
So far, only once. I've got my eye on the bank account and NBA though. They know how much I want to watch League Pass. Just one charge. That's all. Just one charge. We're not doing this whole song and dance again. Doesn't matter how many games I'm watching. You're charging me once. But yeah,
dude, the Rockets have Jeff Green.
Yeah.
The Rockets.
No, they got a team.
I'm so confident in my pick now that they got Jeff Green. That's all.
They got a team. They still have Jason Tate too. I think they got a team. They're another team where a couple injuries isn't going to hurt them because guys can just step up.
Tate could start for them easily. I like only a lot.
Injury that really hurt him is Sengun. Sengun. That would be the only one that I would.
But having Adams there, that they can just kind of work around it and start giving just more touches.
Yeah, but you're changing up your whole style. Yeah. When Sengun was going, their offense was going through him, and he's another guy I think that could be in for a absolute monster year. I'm talking like Domantas Sabonis type numbers from Sengun this year, especially with that team around him.
All right, Donnie, you're here for 2.
I'm here for 2, and Steve just mentioned one of my 2.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything. I wasn't to me.
Give me the Sacramento Kings here. It's I don't know if it's an easy one because I don't know if any of the selections here are easy at this point. Mm-hmm. But they have an over under of 46.5 from FanDuel. They won. What did they win last year? They won 46 games exactly last year. And this is a team where pretty much everyone is returning, and you bring in a guy like DeMar DeRozan and replace Harrison Barnes with DeMar DeRozan. I just think 46 wins and up is definitely super achievable for this team. I love the fit for DeMar. De'Aaron Fox, just another year where he gets better. Keegan Murray is a guy I've been super high on since he came into the league. I like the fit for this team more than anything. I think, we know who the top dogs in the West are going to be. I think that 4, 5, 6, 7 range in the Western Conference is not guaranteed at all. I think a lot can happen there, and I think the Kings can kind of own that spot. So I like the Kings here.
Can't go wrong with that. I'm excited to see DeMar play with De'Aaron Fox. I think that's going to be really, really fun to watch. I just feel like the Kings are just going to be the same team as last year, even though they added DeMar. I think you're right around that number, Dunny. So obviously taking it that round 4, I don't hate it at all. But I don't think they got much worse or much better. They're just going to be right around that number. However, if the Kings are down like 15 in the 4th and they're still trying, that lineup with Monk, Fox, and DeRozan's going to be just amazing to watch. Just fireworks.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
that whole group is a group I had in one tier in the West, where I could go any which way with them, but I feel like they're all kind of similar.
Yeah. If I wasn't taking the Grizzlies, I think I was taking the Kings. So
Same.
All right. And here I am now back on the clock. This one, not as easy for me. I'm between two Eastern Conference teams here. Both just will sound and feel disgusting coming off my tongue.
Oh, no.
I got to do it just because this is a team that has an over-under for wins set at 50.5. And I think getting them in the 5th round, I don't necessarily believe they're going to win that many games, but if I'm surprised and I have them in this draft, that's just a bonus. I'll take the 76ers here.
That's a
I
good
don't
pick.
like it.
No, it's a good pick.
I think it is, and I'm trying to talk myself into that right now. The Embiid just openly admitting he's never going to play back-to-backs again doesn't make me feel good about this pick. Paul George hyperextending his knee just a few days ago doesn't make me feel good about this pick. And being a Boston Celtics fan doesn't make me feel good about this pick. But yes, I think they're one of the teams that did a lot of good things this offseason. They brought back a guy like Kelly Oubre, who really helped this roster last year. Tyrese Maxey is just, I mean, I can't wait to see what he has in store for this season. Paul George, fresh start. If the knee doesn't hold him back at all, a lot of things to like. Jared McCain, I thought he was one of the better picks in the NBA draft this year. I think they got a steal. He's like 16 or 17, I believe the 76ers selected him at. So yeah, give me the Sixers here. It's gross. It's nasty. Other Celtics fans, I'm sorry, but I'll take the Sixers here.
No, Donnie, it's a good pick. I think I got the Sixers at like 18 last year because we were all down on them. And sometimes you just got to pinch your nose and take the Sixers because when healthy, on paper, it's one of the better teams, right? And it's like Joel Embiid. It's kind of the same logic I had with the Nuggets and the Bucks. Obviously, don't have the championship that the Nuggets and the Bucks do, but Embiid's a top 5 player in the NBA.
Yeah,
when healthy,
like superstars. It's like, why not?
You gotta, and you could almost go 3 superstars. Tyrese Maxey.
I think
by the end of this year,
I think you could.
No, that's the right pick, Donnie.
It's a good pick. I
disgusted
had a team.
Celtics fan.
I am disgusted by you. I can't believe it. I did have a team ahead of Philadelphia in the East, though, and I'm going to gladly take them here. I'm going with the Indiana Pacers.
Ooh.
I'm very excited.
Okay.
To see a healthy Tyrese Halliburton because he was hurt late in the season there, and Pascal Siakam together for a full season. They just seem got a high ceiling. I do think that they're a step below Boston, Cleveland, New York still, but I think they're going to be really competitive. Their total is at, where are we at here? Pacers, come on.
47.5.
Yeah, 47.5, 46.5, something like that. They're a team that could flirt with 50 wins, I think, if everything goes right. So I will gladly take the Pacers.
Ben Mathurin coming back.
Not enough Bulls talk, fellas.
Oh, we'll get to them. Just wait 10, 15 more picks.
Round 8, I feel like
there is a final round to this thing, JBC. Don't worry.
Oh, that's cruel. That's cruel. Oh, no. JBC is going to be a one and done happy hour hoops in 2024. He's one and done.
Oh, man. He's already, he tuned in for 5 seconds. He's like, all right, fuck these guys. I'm getting
Hey, we praise Lonzo. Lonzo being back at the top of the show.
I'm hyped about Lonzo coming back. That's huge. He's not happy. He's abuse.
Here we go.
Sorry, JVC. And Mathurin being healthy too is huge for Indiana. So very excited about the Pacers this year. Was one of my favorite league pass teams last year and is yet again this year.
And for what it's worth, the Boston Celtics did say the Pacers gave them the toughest run for their money in the Eastern Conference this year. Really put up a fight. They made it. They made it to the fucking Eastern Conference Finals. Like this is a great pick here, Jake. Also, I didn't know how I was going to be able to bring this up naturally, and this is me giving it away now. But do you guys know what team James Wiseman plays for now?
Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, is that crazy? I realized that the other day, and I was shocked.
He's became just a bench guy at this point.
Yeah,
in his career.
I mean,
but hey, better team than where he was.
A guy coming in that skilled behind Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam, 2 guys he can learn a lot from too. Where he weirdly plays similar to both those guys. So yeah, just a fun little. Where did this guy end up this offseason? James Wiseman is an Indiana Pacer. I was shocked by that, but. Steve, you are on the clock.
Yeah, I'm actually happy this team got to me because I think there's a chance we could see them as the 3 seed in the East if everything kind of works out for them.
I know who this is.
They have the best social media team of any Eastern Conference team, especially on TikTok. It's the Orlando Magic.
Oh, not where I thought you were
I
going.
really like the Orlando Magic here. This is a team I think that exceeded expectations last year, kind of felt like a year ahead of schedule. And what I loved about the Magic is they kind of played up to their opponents, which is something for a young team you really kind of don't see right away. Paolo Banchero is turning into a superstar before our eyes.
He was so
really
damn fun to watch last year, man.
He's incredible. Franz Wagner was great too. And then the one thing that I really was not shocked by, because I was high on him in college, but kind of surprised. We watched Jalen Suggs really become a solid NBA player last year, where, his start to his career was kind of shaky. How's he going to pan out? Is he going to have a role? Dunny, they added KCP. They added Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, which fits right in what the Magic want to do. They don't want to beat you 120 to 115. They want to beat you 90 to 85. And This is a team that added a guy who's perfect for that formula. I like Cole Anthony. I like Wendell Carter Jr. It's another team that feels kind of healthy coming in. They actually have Jonathan Isaac healthy coming into a season for the first time ever. I like this Orlando Magic team. This is a team, I think their win total was kind of right around Indiana's. I think it was like 47.5, 48. I'm in on the Magic this year. I think the Magic are a team that is kind of just going to be more of the same, just a year where everyone's kind of played together, a little more chemistry, and they're going to win just kind of those defensive, grindy games. They feel like a team just kind of like the Cavs to me, and I'm all for that with the Orlando Magic. I'm very, very happy to get them here.
I had them right in that group with the same group that we have here. Sixers, Pacers, Magic was all the same group I had together. We're thinking pretty along the same lines with all these teams here in the groupings and everything. So good pick. I like that. Orlando's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think they're going to be fun. And then this next one is where it gets tough, because I feel like after the Magic, it's just a lot of teams where I'm like, okay, I can see the vision. I'm also terrified of them. And I'm going to take a team that I'm terrified of, but they have so many guys I love. It's the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yep.
I'm taking the New Orleans Pelicans. I really love the addition of DeJounte Murray. Everyone knew DeJounte Murray and Trae Young wasn't going to kind of work out in Atlanta, but that's not saying Murray's a bad player. I really like it because now Murray can kind of be the facilitator, and CJ McCollum can kind of play as a shooting guard, a true shooting guard again, which is really going to help. But I'm not sure what's going to go on with the Brandon Ingram situation, but when on the court, he's fantastic. Zion last year was good. Like people just kind of forget awesome. Zion had a good year, and he's in shape this year. Like he's coming into a season in shape and healthy. Zion, like we haven't seen that, and the hype Zion used to have was through the roof. So I really like it. They also have two of my favorite role players in the NBA, and Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, who just seem to get better each year. This is another team that I think has depth. Jordan Hawkins, I think, is going to be a little bit better this year. He showed flashes as a rookie last year. I loved him out of UConn. Jose Alvarado, who doesn't love Grand Theft Alvarado? I know they lose Valanciunas, but I think that almost kind of hurts them sometime in the flow of what this team wants to do with Valanciunas. So let's play. I showed you guys the news too the other day where they're like, we might have Herb Jones play as our center. And I love that small ball, run up and down the court. You're talking Herb Jones. I don't care how big Herb Jones is. He's one of, if not the best defenders in the NBA. And I say one of because you got that 7'5" guy in San Antonio who is probably going to be the best defender in the NBA for the next 10 years. But regardless, I love this Pelicans team. I think Murray's going to be in a position he's comfortable with right now. I think McCollum's going to be able to play a position he's comfortable with. And I think this is the year Zion gets back to, that's Zion Williamson. Last year had a great year. And he became more of a playmaker, too, which is something we never really kind of saw early in his career, especially when he was at Duke and then into his rookie season. I'll take the Pelicans. I know the West is tough. I know there's a lot of great teams in the West, but there's always some surprise teams. And the Pelicans are just that kind of team that's just been hanging around. And now you kind of got a healthy team. Now you got a great core. I'm with the Pelicans. I'm in.
I like it. I like the pick. And let's super, minimal move, it seems like, but they did bring in a guy like Daniel Tice, who I've spent a lot of time watching. Like, he's no Valanciunas. He's not the big body, but he is a defender. He's got some size. And then, they drafted and brought in some young, close to 7-footers too. So
yeah, they drafted Misi. Misi, who I think he'll have a role.
I do too. I don't mind that pick there.
They were lower
now
on
it
my
gets
board.
tough.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm very scared about the Pelicans.
Okay.
Just the Ingram of it all. But it is, the talent is undeniable. That's the thing with them. And you're right about Zion. I'm like, Zion, it's worth taking a flyer on Zion. I think
Healthy Zion in shape. Yeah, I'll take a flyer on him.
So I'm either going super risky or super safe here, and I'm still trying to decide.
Risk it, Jake. Risk it for the biscuit. He wants to.
I think I'll feel better about myself if I do risk it. So I think I'm just gonna do it. I'm taking the Spurs. I'm taking the San Antonio Spurs.
Early Spurs. Man.
I took them over two teams that are a little older, a little more accomplished.
Holy crap!
But Wemby is gonna he's gonna be amazing this year, and I think it's worth at least 40-ish wins, and I think that's the range we're in for these teams anyways.
Okay.
His total's at 36.5. I think they can get to 40, 41. And if it means me cheering for Wemby because I get to watch him every week and hope that he helps this draft out, so be it. That's a trade-off that I'm willing to take in my life in the year 2024. So give me the Spurs. I think this team is – we obviously know how amazing Wembanyama is. I'm very excited. If Chris Paul has anything left, I'm so excited to see him with Wemby on this team and just see him, even just seeing Paul work with Popovich and what they kind of try to do. Vassell, they have a point guard, and it kind of puts their team all in place. Vassell can kind of just be a 2-guard. It doesn't have to handle the ball really at all and just do his stuff. It's nice. Harrison Barnes on this team is nice, even though he's going to, he's going to make you crazy if you're a Spurs fan from time to time.
It's going to be Harrison Barnes.
And yeah, but Sohan is natural.
But that's better than what they had, right?
Remember they were trying to start Sohan.
They were trying to play him at point guard.
Well, yeah,
what are we doing?
That's exactly what I was going to say. And the glimpses that I saw from Chris Paul in the preseason with Wemby was, about as beautiful as you'd expect. It's just easy lob after easy lob. And this is a team who tried to put a defensive-minded forward at point guard in Shohan. Right. And then, that didn't work. Let's go Devonta Graham, a shoot-first point guard who's never been used to passing the ball in his life. So I like this, Jake. I like this pick. And like you said, you could see this team around 40 wins. I agree. Their line right now on FanDuel is 35.5. I'm smashing that, I think. I like that over a lot.
Can we mention who they got in the draft? Stephon Castle. I think could win Rookie of the Year. I mean, this is exactly the type of guard that the Spurs needed. And I know he probably will come off the bench a little bit to start, but I could absolutely see this as being almost kind of where he plays those important minutes in the second half too. I love Castle. He's got size. He's got that defensive ability they need in a guard. I think it's kind of the perfect pick, right? Because you bring in kind of a smaller playmaking guard with Chris Paul, and then you draft kind of a scoring but defensive, strong, physical guard in Stephon Castle. I love it. Both guys are very comfortable handling the ball. And let's not forget the second half of last year, too, what Wemby did. I mean, willed the Spurs to wins, averaged almost over 5 blocks a game after the All-Star break. He was putting up 25 and 13. I mean, would you guys be shocked if Wemby finished this year averaging 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 blocks a game?
No.
Not in the slightest, right?
No.
Not in the slightest. I don't hate it, Jake. I really don't.
I'm very excited about this team. I'm very excited to watch. They're probably my number one league pass team because it's just so intriguing to see what they're going to look like. All right, Donnie, you're on here for 2, but we'll stop quick after this one to show the last 2. What do you got here?
I'm so mad you guys let them get back to me because this
Oh,
was
no.
this was the second East team that I didn't want to take as a Celtics fan, but I'm doing it
Oh, yeah, here it
because
is.
I'm taking the Miami Heat. They're going to be better than they were last year.
He's
Yep.
doing it.
Yep.
He's doing
They
it.
just are. They're just going to be better than they were last year. They only won 46 games last year. They were an 8 seed.
Mhm.
Jimmy Butler came out recently and said he was going through, family stuff with his dad passing, and he just wasn't motivated about basketball at all. This is a team that still has Bam. This is a team that Nikola Jovic started to come into his own. Tyler Hero had a down year. You expect the scoring to be a little better. They still have shooters all over the floor. I just don't see them being as bad as they were last year. And, 46 wins isn't bad, but bad for the expectations. I got to go Heat here. I hate it, but I'm going Heat.
I think it's a good pick. That's who I was deciding between with that San Antonio pick. It was Miami, just because I think you're right. I think they're going to be better. A full year with Rozier. Jaquez was really good. I think he'll be better. Hero looked like he was still getting better at the end of last year and everything. So I really like, and you just know what you're going to get from Spoelstra. Like, you know that he's going to raise the ceiling of this team higher than it should be. So I like it a lot.
I think that's the right pick there, Donnie. I'm happy we forced them back to you and made you pick the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Back-to-back picks.
Crazy.
I do think that's the right pick. That was kind of the team I was thinking of if I didn't go with the Pelicans. I just and you know my rule. You don't jump off the Heat ship until it's fully sunk. You don't, because every time we tried, they would just start winning games again. It's the right pick.
And I thought maybe I could rule them dead last year, but after, Butler said that he wasn't in the right mindset. I mean, no one wants to see a motivated Jimmy Butler if you're any other opposing Eastern Conference team. So that was the rationale there
too, right? Terry
I know.
Rozier,
I didn't even. That's
Jaime Jaquez year 2, who looked really good as a rookie.
I think things are looking up for Miami. Unfortunately, I'm doing it, man. This guy, he's much like the Heat team. He won't go away. I'm taking the Golden State Warriors here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's a bet on Steph Curry. I think you guys thought I was going to say another team. I was between them. If I'm reading your guys' minds correctly.
I was scared.
I almost did it. I was between the two of them. I'm betting on Steph Curry.
No, I'm feeling all right. You took the Warriors, the Heat, and the 7. Are you okay? Are you good? Are you doing that? You know what? No, Jake, I figured it out. He was so bad in the win totals draft last year. He's like, let's just take all the teams I hate, tank their wins. It's big brain play by Dunny. I got to clap it up for you right there.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
I got to clap it up for you.
I think if someone shows me this list, because I'm writing down the picks, I know Jake's doing it in the doc, and we're going to be looking over this weekly, but just for myself right now, I am writing down all the picks. If someone shows me this piece of paper in May, I may faint.
Yeah, it's crazy. You sold your
soul. It is. I also don't forget I took the Knicks in round 2. So.
Yeah, I know. You took the Celtics and then every other team you don't like.
This is crazy. Dunny, we went the opposite strategy. I just picked UMD because I was like, oh, it'll be fun to watch him. Dunny's like, I'm gonna hate watch the Heat, and either they lose or I win. That's how it works.
Oh yeah, the Kings and Nuggets better have some big personalities.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's all ugly, but I'm strictly just trying to use my ball knowledge here, and Heat Warriors are the picks. Warriors, I don't feel great about their offseason moves. I think they had to move on from Clay. I think that was inevitable. Buddy Hield, I mean, let's fucking hope he looks better than he did on the Sixers, because that shit was gross. And then Kyle Anderson, I think it's a solid guy to have play off of Steph, but I mean, you guys know how I feel about Draymond Green, and then I do like Jonathan Kuminga and some of their younger pieces, but this is probably going to be a team that's hovering around 40 wins. I took him because Steph Curry still plays for this team.
Yeah, their hope is Kuminga gets a lot better. If he takes a leap, they'll be higher in that range, but unless that happens, they're kind of screwed.
Now it's getting tough.
Jake, take the team
this is the
I know
easiest
who
pick in the
Jake's
world for me.
taking.
I'm picking the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really
that's-
scared. Dunny started talking about old guy. I was like, come on, Dunny, don't do this.
Yeah.
That would have been even worse. If Dunny took the Lakers, I really would have been concerned with how he was feeling today. But yeah, I have to do it. I mean, I don't think this team, clearly, I don't think this team's a title contender if I'm picking them we're in round 7 now. But their win total's at 43.5. Could they win? Is there a world where they win 46 games? And they're competing for a 6th seed? Sure. They're not winning a title, but they could do that. And it'll probably be because of the addition of Bronny James. He's just going to light it up. That's all. I couldn't say that with a straight face. No, I think Connect will actually benefit. Will help this team out a lot this year. But it's really going to be more of the same from last. Like, you know what you're getting with this team, and just hope that LeBron stays healthy. LeBron and AD both stay healthy and do what they do. Bron does not seem to be ready to be. He said that he's got 5 more years in him after the Olympics. He feels reinvigorated. So whatever that means for how he looks on the court this year. He's already complaining though about flying to Milwaukee for a preseason game. So
That was crazy. No, that was a weird statement from Bron.
yeah.
I think sometimes he forgets that he's like who he is, and he's just like tweeting
that every single person who follows the NBA is going to see what he says. The best response I saw to that PFT on Part of My Take was literally just like, "Are you complaining about doing your job?"
He's like, everybody complains about their job from time to time.
That is true. But he has been in the NBA for 20 plus years, and I'm pretty sure they've always traveled for preseason games.
No, to be fair, LA to Milwaukee for a preseason game is absurd. What are they doing that for?
Yeah,
that is
like just send them to Sacramento and San Francisco and like have them nice 1 hour flight.
And in all fairness to NBA guys, like flying sucks so much more for them than it does for us.
Yes.
All right, Steve, you got 2 here. What are we doing?
Now I think we can all agree this is where it drops off. We have taken. I think we're where are we right now? Bottom.
We're in 7. You're going to be 7 and 8. We got like 7 or 8 teams left here.
Yeah, we got 10 teams left. 10 teams left. I think it drops off a cliff here. This is where it's you gotta take some swings, and you might whiff, or you might hit one. You might catch one in the gap. I'm just gonna take a team that their win total is low. It's 20. I think it's 28.5, 27.5, kind of across the board. This is a team that I don't care that the win total is low. They're not going to be a bottom team. They're probably not going to be a playoff team. They'll probably be in the play-in and lose in the first round. It's the Chicago Bulls. It's the same story every year with the Chicago Bulls. But here's what I will say about the Bulls. I know they lost DeMar DeRozan. I know every single day there's a new trade rumor with Zach LaVine that comes out. I know they got brought back Vucevic, and that the Bulls fans are kind of undecided on that.
No, not at all.
I think this team's all right. I love Kobe White. First off, he should have been most improved player of the year. That was the fact that he wasn't was actually crazy because he went from a guy that was kind of forgotten, and it was like he's just going to be might not even be like a guy who's going to get minutes anymore, to he was 1A, 1B with DeMar DeRozan in the second half of the year. This is Kobe White's team. There is a world where Kobe White averages over 25 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds a game for the Chicago Bulls team. I really think we are going to see that with Kobe White. I think he's incredible. He's exceptional. I mean, Zach LaVine's still there till he's not. Is he not? Right? He's still there till he's not, and he's a good player when he's on the
trade
court.
Rumors could actually be a positive to this. Who knows what they get in return if they pull it off?
True.
Exactly. Lonzo Ball's healthy.
I know that's awesome.
Lonzo Ball's healthy. He's a good player, man.
Yeah, if Lonzo's good, it changes everything.
My only knock to this team is that they're super guard heavy, but in a year where it's not like they're expecting to make this playoff run this year, so it doesn't really matter. They just have good players. They are guard heavy, but they have a lot of good players.
And I know we talk about Caruso to the Thunder. They got Josh Giddey. I mean, Josh Giddey didn't really fit what the Thunder wanted to do, but he's going to be a solid option for the Chicago Bulls team.
Yeah.
And I think
22 years old too.
I think they got the rookie with the highest ceiling, Matas Buzelis. I truly believe I think they got the rookie with the highest ceiling in Matas Buzelis, who could be an offensively gifted, like 7-footer, stretch forward, which is kind of what the Bulls have been missing. You got Jalen Smith as well, but I look at this team. Ayo Dosunmu, I didn't mention at all. You said guard heavy, Dunny. Sometimes that's a good thing when you have that much depth at the guard position. And I'm looking at all these other teams, and I'm like, all right, who can step up and be the guy? Who can step up and be the guy? Who can step up and be the guy? And I'm like, I think out of the remaining 10 teams, obviously we haven't talked about the Clippers yet because I don't really know what's going on with the Clippers. But out of the remaining 10 teams, who's the next guy who can be a superstar? Coby White. I think Coby White's right up there with anyone. So I'm going to trust Coby White to make another leap this year. You got healthy Zach LaVine. You have a healthy Lonzo Ball. Vucevic, as much as, like to hate on him a little bit, Vucevic is solid. And I love Matas Buzelis. I've been on the Buzelis train for a couple of years now. I think he's going to get a significant amount of minutes on this team. Feels like kind of the perfect fit of a guy they need. I'll take the Chicago Bulls. I think this is a play-in team. I really do. And I know sometimes Bulls fans feel like they're stuck in the middle, stuck in the mud, but this team has promise. I think this team will be fun. I'll take the Bulls here.
I think it's fine here.
All right,
you're gonna hate this next pick because I hate it. Because this is a team right now I think can get 10 to 15 wins higher than their team total.
Oh boy.
Portland Trailblazers.
No,
give me
crazy.
The Portland Trailblazers.
Are you okay?
Give me the Portland Trailblazers. Listen,
is this a Scoot thing?
I know last year was a disaster. It was awful. And Scoot absolutely plays a role in this. Scoot got much better as the year went on. Much, much better. Was very, very good in the games that kind of didn't matter in April, but he played really, really well. And that's kind of a confidence thing. And if you look at this team, Anthony Simons is kind of that guy who is kind of in the Coby White camp where he can score over 25 a game, something that some of these other bottom teams don't really have. I love the acquisition of Deni Avdija. Absolutely love the acquisition of Deni Avdija. Deni Avdija, I think, is a great fit for this team. He's another guy who just is really surprised, where you kind of thought he was almost going to be a bust or forgotten about, and turned into a really good player.
Yeah, no, he just played in Washington.
He just played in Washington, exactly. I think Avdija can be a very, very good player for this team. I love Shaedon Sharpe. I think a healthy Shaedon Sharpe is great for this team. And when he's on the court, I know he's not healthy right now, but I don't think it'll be too long until we see him on the court. I think he's going to help this team. Jeremy Grant's good. Jeremy Grant is good. Yeah, he was been in trade talks too, but Jeremy Grant is a good player. DeAndre Ayton, fine, whatever. He's DeAndre
national
Ayton.
Champ from UConn, though.
We know what he. Thank you, Donnie. That's right where I was going. If Ayton doesn't really do his thing, Donovan Clingan was a great pick. A great pick for this team.
Yeah.
They also still got your guy, Donnie, and Robert Williams.
Happy birthday to Robert Williams, by the way. Birthday today.
They could have a great defensive front court. Something I've never said about a Trailblazers team before. Mm-hmm. They got a lot of guys who are bucket getters, who are fun. Anthony Simons. And guys, if I'm going to be honest with you, Scoot Henderson, that was his floor last year. What we saw was the worst version of Scoot Henderson we'll ever see. He can only go up from there. And I think the confidence got better as the year went on. He started actually playing better. And people forget, because everyone forgot about this Trailblazers team, right? And in the very end of last year, the second half of last year, because they were just kind of forgotten. Look what Scoot Henderson did the final month of the season. He balled out. Out. And that's sometimes what you need for your confidence when there's no more pressure on you. There's no more eyeballs on you. The season's over. Just let Scoot go out there and play. Now he's got a chance to go out there and play. Guys, I look at this team and I go, even Toumani Camara and Delano Banton were guys who had to play roles last year, kind of similar to Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams of the Grizzlies, where it's like our season's just washed. It's so bad. Let these guys get minutes. That helps a team. You got
Banton's one of
Murray,
the more underrated players in the entire league, I think.
100% agree, Dunny. And that's why I'm looking at this team. 20.5 wins is the win total. You're telling me right now, odds makers, that you think the Wizards and the Blazers are equal in talent, equal in win total? Absolutely not.
No, there's no way. That's true.
I think this Portland Trailblazers is a surprise team of the NBA this year. They might not be a playoff team. I know they're in the tough West. But if this team had 35 wins, I would not be surprised because I think this is a fun team. I think this is a team that made some really good offseason moves. And like I said, I think this is a team where you had the floor of some of their players last year. Denny Hadfield, probably the most underrated move in the offseason this year.
Yep.
And we saw the worst of Scoot Henderson. Let's go back in a time machine a year ago. People were talking about how excited they were for Scoot Henderson, how it's Wemby and Scoot is this guy's just putting on highlight reels. And now we're all of a sudden writing him off. Stop it. Stop it right now. Portland Trailblazers, I will take them here. I know it feels like a reach with the win total, but if I look at potential, none of these other teams I think have the potential that the Blazers do.
All right.
I like it. I will say just last thing about the Blazers. I wonder if they like them having Klingon, Ayton, and Rob Williams. It almost seems like they're bringing in 3 guys to make up the skill set of Greg Oden, which they never got to experience.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're just
you combine all 3 of those guys, and that's Greg Oden right there.
Sometimes mix and match them though. That works. I don't hate it. I really
no,
don't.
I don't. I liked the draft pick when they took Klingon at the time.
I agree. All right, you guys are going to be surprised by this pick, but I do believe in this team, and I also think they're at 25.5. I think they could win 10 more games than their totals at right now. Give me the Detroit Pistons.
Oh.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
Oh.
JB Bickerstaff, for everything that I say about him, what he can do is help a young team play better than they're supposed to and build them. That's what he did. The Cavs were better than they were supposed to be ahead of time. Listen, Monty Williams hated his life last year. Didn't even want the job, apparently, when the reporting that came out. They just offered him so much money, he couldn't turn it down. So it's a guy that didn't want to be there, kind of just like milked it in. Now they have a coach who is, trying to save his coaching career. Like if JB gets fired from this one, who's hiring him? Who's picking him up after this? So they got a motivated coach. And if they're healthy, I really like this roster. I mean, Ivy's going to play, you would assume. He didn't play with Monty Williams for whatever reason. So hopefully we can see him. I love Cade Cunningham. Still high on him, still high on Duran. And I think they can win 36 games in the East because the East is bad. And so that's where I'm going with Detroit.
Jake, I just have a little bit of rebuttal there. This Detroit Pistons team added 2 players to their roster that I can't. Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Listen,
and
if
you have a team with both of those, I am more than out. Than out.
Tobias Harris coming back home. He was a Piston earlier.
Oh my!
It's gonna be great for the vibes. And Tim Hardaway Jr. went to Michigan. They're back home. They're back home. They're gonna be fine.
You know what? Watch a Pistons game. I mean, you don't care because you're rooting against the Pistons with Tim Hardaway and Tobias.
This is my hate.
One of 17 from
Dunny
the floor.
inspired me. Dunny inspired me here.
Yeah,
this is my hate pick. But we're in dire straits. There are no good teams left, so I'm grasping the straws here.
Did you hear what Bickerstaff is doing too? He's implementing a dress code, so he's not letting the guys like.
Can I take back my pick?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Damn it!
Disgusting pick. Disgusting.
All right. Well, I got 2 here, and I would have taken this first team I'm going to take over the picks that you guys both just made. So I don't know that tells me this is a bad pick, but. Ice Trae, man, and the Atlanta Hawks.
I was thinking them too, Donnie.
I have to. I think if you have a point guard like Trae Young and the offense he can give you, I think him alone is like 28 wins right there. And I don't hate the roster. I mean, obviously they parted ways with DeJounte Murray, but I don't know. I they have a guy like Bogdanovich still who can score. Clint Capella is still a very serviceable center. DeAndre Hunter is a guy who I'm very bummed out about but Jalen Johnson is turning into
So
everything that
good.
I thought DeAndre Hunter was going to be.
Jalen
And
Johnson,
That's
we don't
true.
talk about it the year he had last year enough.
No. And
Unbelievable.
that's a reason I'm high on them. You know, they
Yeah.
got Larry Nance Jr. back in the Pelicans deal there. I think this is a roster that is set up for a trade too. If they so choose this year, I don't think they'll be shipping out Trey. I think, they've kind of shown that they're all in on Trey. So it's nasty work. I'm not like super high on this team. I don't think they have like great playoff aspirations or anything, but it is a team at this point in our draft where they're projected 36.5 wins for the win total. So
What do you think first overall pick, Rachis here? Zachariah?
I'm not super high on the pick, but it's something that could end up working out. And
He's been okay in the preseason games so far.
Yeah.
He's played pretty well.
He's looked good, and obviously, like I mentioned, like their bigs don't jump off the page at you. Like they have Capella, they have Nance. Like this is a guy who's going to get an opportunity. So I think with the Trae Young factor, it didn't work out with DeJounte. He's going to be a little more free to kind of play how Trae wants to play. And then like you mentioned, Steve, they have this 19-year-old kid who can come in and hopefully be a plus for this team and help out Trae Young. So that's kind of the rationale for the Hawks there. Jake, I was gonna
the Hawks 10 times before the Pistons.
I was actually gonna go Pistons after this. I think I'm gonna do something else nasty, boys. But I just think that at some point this guy's gonna come back. I think they still have a really good coach. Yeah. I'm taking the Clippers.
Oh no!
At this point of the draft, I think getting these two teams.
You kind of have to.
When you guys are going for upside, I think my play here is to kind of go for these middling teams.
Smart play.
That's smart. Yeah,
have coaching. James Harden is not nothing, and then hopefully Kawhi plays some fucking basketball this year, and that will make me feel a lot better about this pick. I was between them and another bottom tier Eastern Conference team, but I think the pick here is the Clippers.
Yep.
Gross team. You're not happy about it, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I don't like that pick either.
I am between two teams.
Me too. So I know I'll get at least one of them.
Maybe, I don't know if we're the same. I'll stay out east. Team that I think is in the same tier as Detroit, so maybe I'll just double it up on mid, but I'll do it anyways. I'm taking the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Taking the Toronto Raptors.
That's the right pick.
Yeah, I'm bullet. Listen, Scotty Barnes, I'm still high on. I still have a lot of stock. I'm holding on to my stock. The price isn't great at the moment in RJ Barrett. But Barnes and Barrett are interesting for a year. Pirtle's still good. This team always seems to just be decent and hang around the play-in. Grady Dick it has a big role hopefully this year. Bruce Brown on this team is going to be fun. So I'll take the upside with Toronto here. I think they'll just be perfectly mid.
Yeah, honestly, I actually think where you got them, this is a good pick for everything you just laid out. Like the money they paid those guys that you just talked about, and just like none of those guys are bad players, and they're just guys that are going to get a lot of minutes. Some guys with winning experience on that team, like a Bruce Brown, championship mentality in the building. A lot of guys from Canada on this team, so maybe there's a little, exterior motivation there.
National pride,
Right. So no, I don't hate that, Jake.
So if you guys remember our draft talk when we talked about the NBA draft, there was a team that I said was the winning team one of the winning teams of the draft. Do you remember which team that was? Because I brought it up, Dunny, and you're like, oh, I wanted to bring them up. I kind of forgot about them. Do you remember that team?
Nope.
One of the winning teams from the draft.
Is it the Utah Jazz?
Utah Jazz. 3 first-round picks. They got Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, and Isaiah Collier, and I love all 3 of those guys' potential.
I almost took Utah over the Clippers.
I almost took them right there, too.
That was the other one I was between, Raptors or Jazz. I was leaning the Jazz, so Amari took the Raptors. But Utah Jazz also had a rookie last year that kind of just got forgotten about in Keontae George. Who averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 2 threes a game. I think he'll have a bigger role this year. Utah, too. Colin Sexton played pretty good. Lauri Markkanen, good player. You got Jordan Clarkson still. You got John Collins. I mean, Walker Kessler, too, in year 3. We'll see what Walker does. I know he took a kind of a step down a little bit last year, but still a solid player. I just think this is a solid team that's younger than people expect. Everyone thinks of the Jazz, and they're like, oh, it's just kind of old team. We're kind of over it. No, they're kind of a young team.
Young as hell, yeah.
I think they had a really good draft, and I think they got a lot of young players who are going to improve with established veterans like John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, and Lauri Markkanen. I like this Jazz team. I think they're a big step up over any of the other teams remaining right now. I have them more kind of closer in that middle tier than the lower tier. I really like the Utah Jazz. Turnover machine, Keontae George.
No, I was gonna say, I think our round 8 was the Blazers, Pistons, and Hawks, and our 9 was Clippers, Raptors, Jazz. I think the round 9, teams are all better, honestly. The teams we picked the last round.
I think we got some potential in, what I mean?
Right,
we have that. Right. We were sipping on that Kool-Aid of the potential of what if for these teams.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Another reason I was eyeing teams. Another reason I was eyeing the Jazz, too, is because much like the Atlanta Hawks, I think the Jazz can be a team that make a move midseason that actually makes them better.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they have a lot of guys on
picks
and a lot of guys on like team-friendly deals for the most part, and then just like guys who contenders would be interested in, whether that's a Jordan Clarkson who we've seen bounce around a bunch, Drew Eubanks who's made his way around the league a bunch, Colin Sexton, who's, has been in Utah for a few years, but, point guard injury around the league, you could see him get moved. And you mentioned it, Steve. That was the reason that team came to mind as soon as you mentioned the draft thing. Like, I think they killed it in the draft as well.
I mean, very, very rarely, right? You have a draft in the NBA where you have 3 picks with guys who are probably going to have decent roles on your team.
Yes.
And I think all 3 of the guys, Filipowski, Williams, and Collier, that they picked are all going to have decent roles on this team, whether it's off the bench or maybe one of them gets plugged in the starting lineup. I could see Cody Williams maybe eventually down the road, right? Playing there. I loved him at Colorado. He's also the brother of Jalen Williams, who kind of worked out for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I look at this Jazz team and I'm like, are the Jazz exciting? Are the Jazz a team I want to watch? It feels foreign to me, but you look at the roster and it kind of feels that way.
Yeah.
And all right,
where are you going now? Last pick. We're on the
last now. Yeah, my last pick. This is where it's just gross, and I know exactly who I'm picking here because I'm sticking you guys with the 2 worst teams in the league, and it's not close. Give me the Charlotte Hornets. Give me the Charlotte Hornets. I got LaMelo Ball. I got Mark Williams, who you guys know how much I like Mark Williams, and then Brandon Miller, who was really, really, really good as the year went on. Second best rookie,
awesome, man.
Kind of clearly the second best rookie in the NBA last year. Obviously Wemby with the clear one, but Brandon Miller was fantastic. They got bad guy Miles Bridges, but bad guy Miles Bridges is also a good basketball player. So, it is what it is at that point. He's still gonna score 20 points for him. They got Dunny's guy and Grant Williams. I know Dunny. If I didn't say his name, I'm not even gonna say anything else. I was just gonna mention his name, so then Dunny didn't have to be like, "Oh, they also got Grant Williams."
He exists. He does exist.
But yeah, I mean, this is a Hornets team where, if LaMelo Ball's healthy, they're a fun team. They're a solid team. I really like Mark Williams, and I think Brandon Miller's in for a really big year. Brandon Miller was really, really good last year, especially as the year went on. And this is a guy I think we could see a leap to where he's averaging 25 a game this year. I think also too, they're so much better than the last 2 teams. So I'll take that.
I think that too.
Donnie,
and then there's also
the 2 worst teams. This is tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
clear worst teams.
The last thing I want to say about the Hornets too is we haven't seen LaMelo for a full season, and
true.
Ever, if ever, and
coming into the year healthy, he's coming into the year healthy. That's a surprise.
If he can play, 75% of the games, that total should change.
Guys, look how far we've come. We're going into a year with both Balls and Zion healthy going into a season.
Yeah,
I know, it's awesome.
Wild.
Look at us. Who would have thought? All right, Donnie, I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets, so you are stuck with the Washington Wizards.
Thanks, brother.
I mean, it's pick your poison at that point, right? It's just pick your poison.
Listen, my dad's a Nets fan, has been forever. So this is purely I could
They got
not
Cam
put them in
Thomas.
Listen, I'm on lineups.com here. Have it pulled up. When you look at the starting lineup for Brooklyn and Washington, and then look at the rest of the league, it's clear what's going on here. So yeah, we'll put out a graphic with all our teams. I'm feeling good. I'm sure in 2 weeks I won't feel the same after seeing some results, but we'll see. We'll keep track. We'll keep an update, show where we're at, show some key games that were coming up in our thing. But yeah, good draft, guys. How do we feel about our teams?
I like my draft quite a bit. I got a lot of the teams I'm higher on than most this year. Do you know what I mean? Like where the win total is or the public perception.
Yes.
A lot of those teams I'm higher on the most. So I'm basically betting on myself. And last year it worked. We'll see about this year.
I'm really mad I didn't get the Spurs because I'm in lockstep with everything Jake said about the Spurs. But other than that, I like my roster. The Celtics mutuals out there might hate me for my picks, but I think I did pretty good. I can't do worse than last
year. It's all
year.
business.
No, you can't. You actually can't.
Dunny was like, I don't know. I won't pull up the record, but Dunny was like,
yeah, please don't.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
he was well under
500.
500.
Well under 500.
It was a tough draft for Dunny.
I was the Washington Wizards last year. In this
yes, but that's all right. This is a bounce back year for Dunny. All right, so we're gonna finish up here. We have we've got a lot of superlatives and categories to go through. We'll roll through them because we pretty much touched on every team, so we don't need to go too deep.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna go our MVP, surprise teams, good and bad, our final 4 picks because I love getting the conference final picks, and then our finals predictions. Sound good there, guys?
I'm down.
Yeah, sounds
All
great.
right.
Do we want to do Rookie of the Year too? A little sprinkle on a Rookie of the Year.
Listen, if you got something for the people, Steve,
I got something for the people.
We're here for the people.
Always got something for the people.
But with MVP, who wants to start? Do you want to start, Donnie?
I will start. This seems fitting, and this is the reason I love this season preview show for Happy Hour Hoops. All the other years, I just sounded like a homer, just banging my Celtics drum. And this year, it has a little more backing to it. I think it has a little more realness because the Celtics are coming off a title. So I can flex the Celtics muscle a little bit here on this episode. And with all that said, my MVP for this year, my money will be going on Jason Tatum. And it's a different reason for years past because I don't even, I think I still did suggest it for last year. And I think I maybe even placed the bet. But last year, we were kind of worried because there was all these guys on this team and Drew and KP, and I think he still has to deal with that as far as his stats go. However, he tweaked his jumper over the summer. I think the 3-point Tatum ball is coming back, and that will, help his numbers just immensely right there. And then if you talk about the winning part of the MVP, we're all kind of in agreement that this is going to be around a 60-win team again, which could easily be best in the league. So I think that part's out of the way. And then just everything that transpired from the second they won the championship till now, he's probably gotten the most hate out of any superstar coming off a championship that I've seen. And, whether you buy into the Team USA stuff or him getting benched on purpose or, whatever your angle is there, he's still got benched during the Olympics, and he had to sit there and watch all his peers who a lot of those guys he's compared to in a positive way where they, he's called better than a lot of those guys. But, since Kevin Durant and LeBron James were on that team, he had to take a backseat role. And I just think he's coming in motivated. I think the Celtics are going to be the best team in the league again. My pick is Tatum.
I'm not surprised there at all, Donnie, that you picked Jason Tatum, but I think it's a very valid. I think it's a good chance as any year for him to kind of take that mantle and have that title this year. So I'm interested in it. I'll go. You want to jump in, Steve, or do you want me to go?
I just want to ask Donnie a question. How much would you put on Tatum for MVP? How much you going to throw on him? I'm just curious. How much you going to throw on him?
Like units or
just go units. Just go units. How many units you throwing on Tatum?
I'd probably put 1 unit on it.
I can give you my Venmo after the show. If you want, I mean, same thing. I can send you my Venmo after the show.
Wow.
I mean,
All right.
just
Wow.
just kidding. Help me out rather than those big casinos. It's your call, though. It's your call. I could have a nice dinner, nice meal, but it's fine.
On that note,
like
jumping off of
motivation
that,
factor.
I did not pick Jason Tatum to win my MVP. I was considering going the same reasoning as you. Best team, best player, 60-win team. Talked about them earlier. Would have made Steve really mad if I had picked that guy. But I'm not going there. I think Anthony Edwards is going to win the MVP this year.
Wow.
Narrative-wise, the league is ready for it. They're good. They are willing to jump on the Ant train as soon as it happens. We both all like the move that they made to get rid of Cat and bring in Randall and bring in DiVincenzo, which will make them a better team in the regular season, which this is what this is all for, right? The regular season award. Right. And I think Ant is going to take it. Ant's going to be better. He's going to be better than he was last year. And I think that ends up being a better player than a couple other guys that are on this list on my ladder that I have. So it was hard to go through. It was hard to put together. Like I put together a little top 5. It was hard to do it, but I think this is where I feel pretty good about Ant taking it. But I think it's an open race. I think it could go a lot of different directions.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Jake. You sniped me, and I'm not too happy about it because I love the odds at 12-1 for Ant-Man 2, and I told you I think the Timberwolves probably have the best regular season record this year. I really truly kind of believe that. I love the team they built around him. Everything. I want to take Luka, but 3.5-1, the favorite. That's just boring. I can't do that. I can't justify taking a guy at MVP at 3-1 when there's so many superstars. Anthony Edwards at 12-1 was going to be my pick. You kind of sniped me on it. I'll still have Anthony Edwards as my official pick, but I'll tell you what. Do not sleep on Wembanyama at 22.
I was just going to say, man.
Do not sleep at Victor Wembanyama at 22-1. They have such a better supporting cast around him, and we forget in the second half of last year, this is a guy putting up 25, 12, and 5. He's already minus 150 to win Defensive Player of the Year.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I think the next best odds is like plus 1,000. Like that's how confident they are he's going to win Defensive Player. This is a guy that we could see quadruple doubles coming from this year. Just the way he plays defense. He's going to have multiple games with 10 plus blocks. I think he's going to have another big step this year. We saw the big step at the second half of last year. What's the only thing holding Wemby back is just the concern for injury. Well, guess what? Anyone can get injured. So I'm tired of that kind of being the crutch we use. I can't believe Jake sniped me. I'm going to be honest, because I was going to go out here with a whole spiel about Luka and the new look Mavs and be like, no, I'm taking Anthony Edwards. But I can't justify Luka at 3.5-1. So Wemby and Ant-Man would probably be the ones I bet on.
Yeah, so I like, that you started to throw the odds into that, Steve. And that's kind of what goes into my Tatum pick, like 16-1.
Yeah.
Like my heart says Tatum. I may, if I actually had to pick one and like that, my life depended on it, I might take Joker, but it's kind of the same thing. Like you said, like he's 4-1 on a lot of books, 5-1 in some spots. It's just not that fun when you do a future like this to take a guy like that. You try to find some value here too. I didn't think that either of you guys would take Ant. I like that 12-1. And then, that was part of my rationale for Tatum though. 16-1. Probably will be the number 1 seed in the East again. And then if the numbers across the board can go up a little bit, I think it's achievable. But yeah, Wemby, man, that's spicy. I like that.
It's spicy, but man, he's gonna put up MVP type numbers, right? It's just gonna be a matter of do they want to give it to him this early in his career? And Luke already got voter fatigue for MVP, so who knows what they're gonna decide.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's run through these ones quick here. Good surprise team. I'll start. I talked about them a little bit earlier. I think the Houston Rockets surprise a lot of people and can avoid the play-in and make the playoffs cleanly.
Yeah, I gave my reason for this team. I just think they're gonna be a fun surprise team. I think it's the Portland Trailblazers. I really do. I think everyone thinks they're at the bottom of the league with some of these teams like the Wizards and the Nets, and I just don't see that. I really think everything that could have gone wrong for them last year did. I like a lot of the talent on this team. I think there's a lot of potential for the young players and kind of the established guys in Simons and Grant they have. I think the Blazers are a team that can go 15 wins over their win total and, flirt with kind of like what the Rockets did last year, flirt with that final play-in spot where you kind of felt like, they're probably not going to get it, but they're a fun team. That's kind of the track I see the Blazers.
I like that. Yeah, mine. So I put Spurs first. I didn't know if that was allowed because I think all of us are just super.
I think everyone in the world right now thinks the Spurs are gonna.
And then my other pick was the Pistons, and both of them are relative, right? Like I don't think the Pistons are gonna make the playoffs, but I think they're gonna be much better than they were last year. Kind of same thing with the Spurs. I don't have to spend much time on it. We both all three of us just said that we may sprinkle Wemby for MVP. Like this is a guy who can average like 30, 15, and like 8, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
That's a little high maybe, but like those numbers wouldn't be surprising. He has a real point guard. We said the draft picks were great. So that would be my surprise. Good.
Surprise bad.
I'll start because I had this team bad before all the news came out. It was the Los Angeles Clippers. It feels like it's an easy pick now. The crutch with obviously Kawhi being out indefinitely. But even with Kawhi healthy, I just didn't look at this team competing with the rest of the Western Conference because you just kind of look at this team and it's like you lost Paul George. You lost Russell Westbrook. You didn't really gain too much. You got my guy Derek Jones Jr., that's fine. I like him. He's a great role player, but he's a role player on an established team. And even with Kawhi healthy, we know it's how many times do we have to repeat this, right? It's just how many games of Kawhi in a row are you going to get? How many games are you going to get at Kawhi to 100%? I don't think James Harden is the scorer he was 5 years ago. He's a fine playmaker, but I think Harden's a guy who has to have established guys around him. I just think they're relying too much on these Norman Powell, Zubac, guys like that you just can't trust on a nightly basis. I would not be shocked if the Clippers missed the playoffs. I really wouldn't. So they're my bad surprise team, even though, like I said, after the injury news for Kawhi, it feels like the easy pick. I'll still stick to it.
That picture of James Harden being skinny that went viral in September doesn't move the needle for you at all.
No, doesn't. It really doesn't, Tony. I'm sorry, that doesn't do it. Right, I don't think we're getting Houston Rockets MVP James Harden this year.
Fucking just, September, we're getting posts from NBA Central. Look how skinny James Harden is. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What does that do for me?
Great. Mine is the Philadelphia 76ers. I just don't like the vibes. Don't like the Embiid vibes coming off the no back-to-backs. He's always hurt.
Crazy fucking comment, dude, before the
insane comment. He just doesn't give a fuck. And also the fact that Paul George is already dealing with knee issues. He's 35 years old. They paid him a lot of money. There's as many scenarios as that goes right for them as that it goes wrong with the 76ers signing Paul George to that contract. So not a good start. Vibes are off. I think they could be a playing team, honestly. I really do. I think we could look at them like we look at the Lakers, where it's like a lot of good teams and like a great team on paper, but struggles to put it together night to night.
Yeah, that as a Celtics fan, I would love to see them implode. My pick is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's interesting. I get it, but part of Jake's reasoning was a comment from Joel Embiid. Part of my reasoning is going to be that comment that we talked about earlier from Giannis. And do I think it was smart the way he worded it? Absolutely. Do I think that could still rub some people in the organization the wrong way? Absolutely. I think it could rub some of his teammates the wrong way. I think we talked about how old this roster is. Middleton is up there in age. He hasn't had a healthy season in years.
Right.
Brook Lopez, he's been great. I think he's one of the more underrated centers in the league. That being said, he's one of the older centers in the league who gets the minutes that he does. I mean, this could easily be the season that just the magic goes away for Brook Lopez. I hope it doesn't. He's a guy I enjoy watching play basketball, but that's the reality of the situation. Also, shout out to, I can't remember if it was Bill or Ryan Russillo that said this, but on the Bill Simmons pod, they were talking about how Thanasis isn't on the Bucks anymore. He's not. He's currently not on the roster, and that's something that has motivated Giannis in the past. Obviously, you know, that's more of just like a fun anecdote, not really a reason to.
Yeah, but you never know.
Surprise bad team, but this is a guy who, you know, like, it was important to have Thanasis on his teams in the past, and he's come out and talked about it. You know, when Thanasis like wasn't there for a few games, or I forget the reasoning why he missed games, but Giannis was like down in the dumps. So he kind of needs Thanasis there for motivation. And again, Dame, like, he was pretty good last year, but definitely a disappointment for the splash trade that they made in the offseason. So yeah, I could just see it. You know, I don't think they'd miss the playoffs or anything. I just, you know, it could be a wasted year if you're honest. I don't think he's going to be bad. I worry about the supporting cast.
Yeah, there's a version of the Bucks that's really scary this year, and we're talking Giannis as a trade piece next summer. Like you said, he knows what he's doing with that. Steve, you said did you have a rookie of the year pick? Because I don't have anything strong on this. Who do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's Matas Buzelis of the Chicago Bulls, because I think this is a guy who's going to have. I think it's a guy who's going to have legitimate minutes from the start. With the other rookies, you kind of figure out what their role is going to be in terms of the top ones. I think Buzelis should be in the starting lineup, should have legit minutes going forward. I think he's the perfect kind of stretch forward they need. I think he's got super high potential and they get better as the year goes on. I also kind of like Stephon Castle. I know Zach Edey's the favorite right now, which is hilarious because everyone's like, oh, Zach Edey, like, he's not going to translate to the NBA. Now he's the overwhelming favorite for rookie of the year. But I really like Buzelis. I think he's a guy, no matter if the Bulls season goes north or if it goes south, he's going to have, you know, a significant role. He's going to get a lot of options to make impact plays. Also, too, you got to have a little bit of the kind of that swagger, a little bit of that highlight potential for rookie of the year. And Buzelis has that. He's a fun player to watch. He's already put up some pretty cool clips in the preseason. I'll take Buzelis.
All right.
I think it's 12-1 too, or 9-1. I think it's 9-1 for Buzelis right now. 12-1 for Stephon Castle.
Yep, that's what I'm seeing. I actually, FanDuel also has Buzelis 12-1.
I like it,
but a lot of places have him 9 or 10-1. I will just say this, just because I wasn't planning on saying this on the show, but just something that I actually have already sprinkled a little bit. Reed Shepherd for me.
I was thinking Reed Shepherd too.
Everything that Jake talked about earlier with the Rockets, I think playing time could be an issue. Just, you know, as far as the other rookies, I think that would be what holds him back. But I mean, just how good of a fucking scorer this guy is. And I think there's going to be games in stretches of the season where they need scoring from Reed. And honestly, I think I might have sprinkled this like after their first or second preseason game. But I don't know, something about the way Reed plays, I enjoy.
The only thing holding me back on Reed, I just think there's a little too many cooks in the kitchen in Houston.
Yeah.
There's just too many of those guys there. I just don't know if he's going to have the volume or the numbers for it. I love the talent, but you just, like I said, I think that's good for Houston, but bad for, I guess, Reed's rookie of the year chance, because there's just so many good players. And we talked about the potential guys who might come off the bench with him, which could be Amen Thompson, right? Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, and Steven Adams. Like, that might be tough for Reed to, you know, get that type of value.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's make our big picks here. We'll start with the conference finals. I like getting the Final Four in there, and then we'll get to our NBA finals. Like to know the path, a little tease ahead of time. Unless you guys think we should just go NBA finals picks just straight from the start, and then we'll give our conference finals after.
I think we can go conference finals first.
Okay. All right. I'll start off. I'll go first. In the East, the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Wow.
I think if the Cavs are healthy all season, they easily have a shot at a 2 or 3 seed. Let's just say I'm not confident in Karl Anthony Towns when it comes playoff time for the New York Knicks. I am more confident in the Cleveland Cavaliers cast. Like Kenny Atkinson, think they can get to the conference finals there. But Boston, it was automatic putting Boston in the conference finals there. And then on the West side, Oklahoma City, hyped them up, the 1 seed, and I think they will end up meeting. This was really hard to pick who I thought was going against Oklahoma City, honestly. But I'm going with the T-Wolves. Going with the Wolves. If I'm buying into this Edwards thing, I like the team construction. I think that they could survive to the conference finals yet again, and it'll be interesting.
Even with Randall and Gobert,
that's what holds me out of it. I'm a little scared about that part, but all I think this means is that Naz Reid is going to be the guy that plays the most.
Out
of those three guys, and I'm a huge believer in Naz Reid. So.
Okay.
What if Randall?
I think the Cat trade is because of. I think the Cat trade is made because they want to give Naz Reid the keys behind Edwards. That's who I feel like this trade is for, as much as anything. The Randall thing worries me, but I'd rather probably have Randall out there than Gobert in a lot of those playoff games. And Randall and Cat, when it comes to playoff time, it's not really much different in my mind. They're both probably going to choke in some fashion for a couple game stretch. Randall's going to bring you more defensively, so
that's fair.
Who wants to go next, Dunny? Steve?
I'll take it.
Yeah, go ahead, Dunny.
For the Eastern Conference Finals, I have Celtics, Knicks. I think this would, NBA networks would love this. ESPN would love this for ratings wise. I think fans, this would be just a historic matchup. A team that's kind of been good and just got their championship that they've been hovering around for years now. And then a Knicks squad that kind of blew up out of nowhere last year, and they have all the hype behind them. Just made the big splash for Karl Anthony Towns. I think they're just going to be neck and neck with the C's all year if they can stay healthy and personalities don't get in the way there. And then in the Western Conference, I have the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks. I think the Mavs are going to be highly motivated. And then, there's not really much to say about Denver, right? I think the Mavericks got a lot better, adding Klay Thompson. And then, Steve touched on it, but just having a full year, PJ Washington and some of those other acquisitions. And, it's Luka and Kyrie, man. It's the same reason they got there last year. One of the better duos in the league. So Nuggets, Mavs, Celtics, Knicks is my top 4.
All right.
I'm in agreement with you on the East, Dunny. I'm going Knicks, Celtics. I like the moves the Knicks made. And obviously, I kind of like the side for Minnesota in the Towns deal, but I think of this more and more. I feel like it might be better for the Knicks come playoff time with Karl Anthony Towns there. They already have the depth, and this trade kind of just overshadowed the fact that this Knicks team got Mikal Bridges this offseason too. Crazy, just kind of overshadowed it. And I'm looking at what starting 5 lineup can go up against the Celtics. You look at what the Knicks, the options they have with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, you have Mitchell Robinson, you got Karl Anthony Towns, you have Mikal Bridges. It just looks like kind of that perfect playoff lineup. Also had some guys step up last year when they needed to. The Celtics are the Celtics. I don't need to talk about the Celtics. They've been the best team on paper for 3 straight years now coming into a season. Don't overthink it. The Boston Celtics, I would be shocked, barring catastrophic injuries, if the Celtics don't make the Eastern Conference Finals. And then in the West, I'm going Mavs Thunder. Little rivalry for myself here. The Mavs Thunder. I think the Mavs got a lot better in this offseason, but even going back to last year, the second half of the year, we saw really what happened when they had a PJ Washington and Gafford. Their young players are going to get better. I think Hardy has a good year this year, takes kind of a step. I think Lively's going for a massive year. I really love the additions the Mavs made, not just Klay Thompson, but Grimes and Marshall as well. And then the Thunder. I mean, Caruso and Hartenstein, this is going to be just such a tough team to play against. They have so much depth, so much athleticism. Yeah. We're all talking about the year 2, Wemby jump and all these guys year 2. It's technically the year 2 Chet jump, right? We saw Chet's, second season, which was kind of his rookie year, and he got a lot better. I love this Thunder team. Jalen Williams still somehow is so underrated. So I'll take the Thunder and the Mavs and the Celtics and the Knicks.
I like it. All right. Well, Steve, let's just stay with you.
All right. So
NBA Finals. This is
NBA
it right
Finals.
here. Putting your money where your mouth is, guys.
NBA
right here.
Finals here. I think
Oh,
both these teams have kind of constructed a team to beat the team they're going up against. I'm taking the Knicks over the Celtics. I'm sipping on the Nova Knicks. I know they lost DiVincenzo. I know they lost Randall, but Randall kind of was hurt in important parts last year. Jalen Brunson's a superstar. I mean, we were kind of like unsure of when the Knicks first got him. Oh, did they pay him too much? And he has just gotten better and better and better. I think the Mikal Bridges addition is so important, especially to have a guy like that against this Boston Celtics team.
Yep.
I think he is going to be crucial for them. And, if he's locked in, you talk about a mismatch, a big man who can shoot like Karl Anthony Towns. If he's locked into Tibbs and what they want to do in New York, you talked about it, Dunny. He coached Towns before. The more I look at this next team, the construction of it, the more I look at it, I'm like, I kind of think they built this team just to beat the Boston Celtics. Like that's
they did a really good job
how
too.
they built this team, and I think it's going to be a 7-game series Eastern Conference Finals war. And then I hate doing this, but I'm taking the Thunder over the Mavs. I hate doing it, but I'm taking the Thunder over the Mavs. I love what the Mavs did, but a lot went right for them at the end of the year too. I'm just going to take the Thunder over the Mavs. It's such a young team, just getting better and better. And the big reason here is I think we're going to see a huge clash between Chet Holmgren and Derek Lively and the leaps they make this season going into the Western Conference Finals. Luka's going to put up his numbers. Kyrie will do his thing. You got Klay Thompson there. I love what the Mavs did, but the additions of Caruso and Hartenstein are kind of that toughness that this Thunder team that was already tough and physical didn't really need, but added on anyways. And I just love the fit of both these guys. I'll take the Thunder and the Knicks, and I'm going to take the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the NBA Finals. I think the Knicks are going to give everything they have in that Celtics season, not that the Thunder won't against the Mavs, but I really like this Thunder team. They just seem to keep getting better and better and better. SGA is unbelievable. Chet's unbelievable. Like I said, people just forget about Jalen Williams. They just got so many good players, so much depth. And they're another team, too, where it just feels like next man up, right? You'll miss a couple guys, some guys step up, and you need that in the postseason. So I'll take the Oklahoma City Thunder. It hurts me to say, but Thunder and the Knicks, it would be, I think, a phenomenal NBA Finals.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Donnie, what do you got?
So this was tough. I wanted to put your Mavs here again, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly subconsciously might have put the Nuggets here because I think if the Mavs get there again and play the Celtics, I think it might be their turn. Just the motivation from Luka.
Kyrie needs a redemption in Boston.
Yes,
in the finals. Yeah,
he just needs to figure that shit out, bro.
Yes.
But I am going Nuggets. I don't really know why. I'm kind of down on the Nuggets squad compared to years past. Maybe this is part of me thinking that I want Russ to get a ring real bad, so I want them to go to the finals. But it's Joker, man. It's the Joker, and I think he just causes so many problems for every team in the league, but specifically the Western Conference, with which they would have to fight through. I think whether people think that Jokic cares about basketball or not, I think that whole team is pissed off about the way they went out last year. I think if they have a healthy Murray, I think if they have a healthy MPJ, I think they can get to this spot. And then against the Boston Celtics, I'm with you, Steve. Like, if it is a Celtics-Knicks Eastern Conference Finals, I think that goes 7. I think the Knicks are going to need to have OG and Mikal both there in order for them to win that series. And I'm just taking the health card here. The Celtics are one of the more durable teams in the entire league, and the Knicks just have a guy in Towns who has been known to not show up in big spots, and a guy in OG Anunoby who just unfortunately is hurt all the time. And I think if they go through a playoff run where they reach the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm not sure OG is there. And I think they need both those guys to beat the Celtics to contain the Jays. So I'm going Nuggets Celtics, and I think you guys know what's happening.
Yeah,
here.
we know who you're picking.
Yeah.
We know you're going back to back.
I'm going back to back.
I will say
no
Donnie,
shockers.
Though, if the Knicks are healthy coming into that Eastern Conference Finals with the Celtics, you have to be terrified.
Oh yeah. No, I think
Yeah.
everything you said about the Knicks building the roster to beat the Celtics, I think it's absolutely true. And I mean, they did it. They went out, they had a guy like OG, and that alone kind of scared me because I'm like, oh shit, this is a legit, wing stopper. Then you go and get a guy like McHale, and then they somehow built this team and were able to keep the top dog in Brunson, and they brought in all his buddies. They still have Josh Hart. I think the letting go of DiVincenzo is probably more impactful to this team than Randall. But no, I think they're very good, man. I think that would be an interesting Eastern Conference Finals. Let me just ask you this before Jake does his finals pick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Knowing what we know, everything on the table, so injuries are on the table, all that stuff. Who would you guys rather have, Karl Anthony Towns or Kristaps Porzingis?
I think I still go Towns. It's close, but
I think I go Porzingis.
If we're saying both healthy, I think I go Towns. I think he gives just a little more, but
I think I go Porzingis.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
it's going to be an awesome matchup when we do see them all against each other fully healthy. I can't wait to see those games this year. When Porzingis is back on the court.
All right. Yeah. All right, Jake.
It's tough. All right.
Take us home. All right. Take us home.
I'm not getting crazy. I'm not picking the Cavs to beat the Celtics, guys. I did think about it. I did sit with it for a couple minutes. I'm like, what can I really get myself to do this? Do I want to do this? I don't want to do this. Don't want to do this at all. So I'm going to stick with the Boston Celtics making the NBA Finals. I'm with you, Steve. I got the Oklahoma City Thunder in the finals. I think the Thunder would handle. I honestly think they would beat the Wolves in 5. I think that's the matchup where the Wolves, where the Randall Gobert would really get stressed out.
Agreed.
But I think the Wolves can get through I think the Wolves can get through the West the rest of the way. But I think this Thunder team is kind of their kryptonite with those two guys at those positions, because Gobert's going to get played off the field or off the court. They're going to spread him out too much, and Randall, you just can't trust a lot in the playoffs. So it's going to be a lot on Edwards, which he might be able to do amazing things. I just don't think it's this year. I think the Thunder get it in and do that. We got Dunny back in here. Dunny, I picked the Thunder. I've got your Boston Celtics in the finals. And I am joining Steve in picking the Oklahoma City Thunder to win this year's NBA Finals. I think it goes 7. I think these are the two best teams in the league. I think they would have a knockdown, drag-out fight. I think they're really well matched against each other, but I think the Thunder just have a little more, especially if Hartenstein's healthy. So that's where I'm leaning. That's it. Oh, Dunny, we can't hear you. I don't know what's going on with you. This is the sign that we went so long. Dunny's computer died and his mic stopped.
He's
working,
upset.
So
He's upset. He's upset. We didn't pick the Celtics. Yeah. He's cursing us out right now. We get it. I'm glad everyone at home's not hearing what he's saying right now, because it's bad. It's bad. I'm reading the lips.
Hey, there he is.
Hear me?
Oh yeah.
No. Wait,
Jake. Yeah, whatever, man. Just give me some added motivation here.
It's nothing personal. I promise. It's just
did you guys hear my question before?
Oh, we heard your question.
My laptop shut off.
Yeah,
okay.
I said Porzingis is better. Steve said Cat. That's basically where we ended up.
That's why I think it's a good question. I think it's tough with the injuries,
I think it is tough. I like the rim protection a little more, but I think Cat's probably a little better offensively.
I think he just gives a little higher ceiling in what he can do on the entire floor for scoring.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Fellas. That's our preview. Shout out to everybody who tuned in here. Next week, we'll be back, and we'll be talking about some actual NBA action. So.
Yeah. Tuesday night's opening night. Crazy.
Tuesday night, opening night. Can't wait.
Banner night, Donnie? Banner night?
Yep. Banner night.
It'll be fun. All right, boys. Let's have a good night. Have a good night, folks. we'll see you next week.